Test, test, test. Good. All right. All right, everybody. So, for those of you that have been here for a while, you know we have a lot more people that are on the way. But we're going to get started. I feel like I'm missing something. Okay, we'll figure it out. But today we have a very busy day. I guess we're calling it a double header. So we have our Amazon meetup event that's starting now from 1 to 3:30. And then for those of you who are into YouTube, making money from YouTube, running ads on YouTube, whatever the case may be, also if you're watching on the live stream, this will be live stream, but in person we have our YouTube meetup event, which we shoot to do once a month. You do not have to have, just like you do not have to have an Amazon seller account to attend here, or there's no like required experience level. Same thing with the YouTube one. So even if you're just curious, you're more than welcome to attend. I can definitely tell you, I started this group here, this Amazon group. We have our 10-year anniversary coming up, by the way. If you check the meetup, our picnic, our annual picnic, we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary of doing these events. But when I started the group, we had like 2 people show up, 4 people show up, sometimes no people show up. That's where we're at with that YouTube side of the meetup. So it's in that early, ugly stages. So if you want to be in at the ground level and experience some cool stuff of what's going on, or kind of see how people behave, including me, when there's nobody showing up or only 2 people, you're welcome to attend. I'd say the other major difference between the 2 meetup events, or this one and other ones, is when it comes to Amazon and e-commerce, that is my superpower, right? Digital marketing and all that stuff. When it comes to YouTube, you're going to notice it's very different. It's not my superpower. It's something that I'm passionate about, and I'm learning a great deal, and I'm just paying it forward. So one of the hang-ups I see from people that are like, yeah, Carlos, I agree, community's amazing, but I'm not an expert in anything, and that holds them back. But when you're doing a community, you can be the guru or you can be the guide. So it's a very different hat change for me between those two events. We also have a Shopify one that's about to start becoming regular very soon. The course creator one is probably going to go to every 2 months instead of every month, but our Shopify one will be every month. So that every month, at least every month, we'll have at least one time per month where after the Amazon meetup we're just staying to network. The other ones should have an additional event of some type that will help our business that we'll be able to do. What else? So I know what I forgot to put up here was the sponsorships. Let me pop this up. Well, I'll just mention them, and I forgot, but we have the slides. Those snacks and coffee, water, everything you're welcome to have. This place, you guys hear me joke about it, but it's true. My wife would not let me keep doing all this if I was coming out of pocket every single week, a large amount. So we have amazing sponsors, some of you see on the wall. I have to say now we also have some community members. Alex, that's how we got this TV. Just reached out on social media and was like, hey, I saw the TV had a little crack here or whatever, pitching in. So sponsors, community members, everything make this possible. So huge thank you to them. If you're watching this on the stream, you see the banner on the bottom that's mentioning our sponsors, but one extra sponsor to note, and then I'll speak about each of the sponsors a little later. But one sponsor to really that I wanted to give a special shout out today, because it is official, is our sponsor. I don't know, we call it the diamond level, if you will, because we haven't had somebody jump in and sponsor at this level before in the group, is Jungle Scout. So we have a lot of cool resources that are coming from Jungle Scout. They're also giving me access to, I guess you'd call it a sandbox account, to where there's always an issue when I'm opening a seller account of mine or stuff in the past, how that's turned around and bit me with other people sabotaging the account and stuff. But in this case, I'm going to be able to open up Jungle Scout and run it and show all kind of demos without really exposing my businesses to anything that could damage it. So I'm really excited about that. In a second, what I'm going to do, just like I've mentioned at the beginning of the year that we're going to do, is I'm going to go right into just walking through some product sourcing, looking at the screen. We're going to do that for about 30, 40 minutes, and then we're going to transition into any questions that anybody has. We'll do that if there's time leading up to the actual meetup at 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, today's meetup is going to be 5 launch strategies. So there's obviously 50 bazillion different types of launch strategies. I'm going to pick the 5 that I think are not the most obvious, but that are ones that I'm seeing that are giving a great deal of impact right now for people's brands. Out of all of them, I am doing all of them with the exception of one, and that particular one I'm really excited to start using, but I have seen it across other people's accounts and brands, and it's working tremendously. So I'm not speaking on that particular one when we get there from firsthand experience, but I am speaking from I've implemented it for other people, and the results are just pretty wild. So that's fair. Everybody got what we're doing today? All right. Give me 1 sec, and I'm going to connect the computer so that people online can see my screen, and we will go from there. Oh, those look new, huh? Let's see. Let me just. Oh my God, yes. May the 4th be with you. May 4th, Star Wars Day. I should have wore some gear.
That's why I'm bringing my.
You know what? I have a prop back there. I'm going to bring it up here. Absolutely. Thank you guys for telling me.
We shouldn't have to.
Shouldn't. Except I've been here since 6 o'clock in the morning.
So since 4 o'clock this morning, you should be waking up.
That is fair.
Yeah.
That is fair.
That's what happened with me at least. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah, right. You didn't get up that early. You didn't get up that early.
you know what I'm saying?
When's that?
I woke up with my stormtrooper helmet on.
Let's see. It is, right? Oh. I'm going to have to get one of these surgeries for my eyes because these glasses are getting really annoying for me.
Then you have to be like really bad with your eyes to get it.
Apparently.
Try to, you know,
Apparently.
do your own, have to have like stigmatism or something really bad.
Yeah, or just getting old.
Well, yeah.
Whoa.
Or just getting old. I mean, look.
Yeah,
Look.
that's supposed to use glasses like 5 years ago. I go every single year and I get new glasses. They're collecting dust.
All right, there we go. Can somebody volunteer to look at the YouTube? Thank you, Andres. Thank you for volunteering. And I'm going to get the Star Wars prop as we go. But what we're going to do today, is I'm going to walk you through some products I discovered this week and talk about whether they're worthwhile opportunities or not. Let's see. Since I am the only one who brought a prop, did Andres run and go get a prop?
This one I get his laptop.
Oh. Since I am the only one who brought a prop.
I'm going to take a picture with that lady.
Look.
Yeah, I will.
Yes.
I'm a holder that pictures.
So I'm the only one here you're representing.
I'm representing.
It's us against them.
That's right.
Okay.
That of my
So may the 4th be with you guys. So let's do this. Today's meetup, here we go. Let me jump around here. So yeah, I don't do slides. I guess I do tabs, but I thought this was pretty interesting. So it's this week, I'm explaining this not because I want to hear myself talk, but because I think people make finding products a lot more complicated than it needs to be. So And by the way, everybody on the screen that's stuck looking at this particular page of me, that's not what I'm trying to do, but we're gonna move. So what happened was, I have this hobby. I also have this bit of a curse that I can't have a hobby without turning it into a business, right? It's impossible. If I start doing something, I start looking at how I could do it more affordably, how I could do it better, how I could launch this thing, what it would cost to source it from blank. So it's a curse, so it like ruins the hobby, right? Also, like, I guess a good example of this to help it relate is salsa. I learned salsa with my wife and everything like that. Best way to kill that passion is to open a salsa business, right? Which we did. So we have Salsa Kings. So now anytime I hear salsa, I think of cash flow, I think of payroll, I think about how much those mirrors were to install. I don't think about the joy of the music, right? So I found a hobby that I really like, and I was like, one of these rainy days, I'm going to launch this thing as a product. And instead, a friend of mine, Tom, actually launched it and crushed it. So for me, this hobby that I have now, by the way, I love gardening, stuff like that. It's just a passion of mine. But this one hobby, I can safely get into this one because obviously I'm never going to compete with Tom, right? And it's bonsai. So I tinker around with my bonsai stuff in the backyard to try to like turn off, which is almost impossible for me. And I broke my favorite bonsai pot. I do have a connection of bonsai pots, right? But I was like, you know, let me not do this. I want to just start messing with this today. So I also have this jumbo-sized matcha bowl, which no one would ever have in their house, and matcha bowls are not bonsai bowls. But I was just like, let me put this thing in something, and I loved this matcha bowl, and I put it in there, and it broke two. I dropped it again, so broke 2 bowls in one day. Right. Got frustrated. I'm like, that's it. I sat down in front of my TV, which I never do midday, and then I saw a clip on YouTube from Breaking Bad. Who here's seen Breaking Bad, the show? Right. There's this one scene in one of the early episodes where he drops a plate that they were feeding this guy with, and then he goes to throw the plate away and free the guy, and he thinks, and he's like, man, I'm missing a piece of this plate. And come to find out, he gets all the pieces together and he sticks it together, and sure enough, there's this one shard missing that could be a perfect knife, so the guy was going to do something to him, whatever. All that made me think of, maybe I should just stick these pieces back together and recreate my favorite thing. I'm like, man, isn't that a thing? Like, isn't there a thing like in Japan or something where you put the gold inlay and you stick everything together? So I did. And then I was like, man, that is super niche, and I wonder what kind of material I need for this. So I was like, I just did a few quick searches, and sure enough, we end up on kintsugi, which is the art of doing this. Now, this is just the main keyword of what it is. I have zero faith in the spelling skills of the United States of America, so there is no chance that that's being spelled, right, in the US, right? So there are a lot of other search terms I think we can agree that someone are going to search for before this kintsugi. But when I searched for, and this would be a core keyword, a bunch of things jumped out at me here. First of all, I don't like the $16.92 price point on Amazon, especially with this many things. But when I did look at what these things are, there's plenty of profit margin in this, right? What I didn't like, or what I didn't like initially before I kept digging, and this purpose of this is so that you kind of see how I'm thinking when I'm looking at a product, so that you can rely on more than just the software. What I didn't like was, initially I was like, oh wow, they sell a glue? But then when I looked at the title, this is a hair product. This isn't even related to this term. And then I was like, wait a minute, where are the ads? So this particular thing has sold over 1,000 in the past month, and there's not even an ad being run for its main search term. Now, is this a category? I've done some of the research on this before presenting you with like a bad option, but like I did a little bit on the research on this for some of you guys for like the back end keywords and what's the potential volume here. You're not, I highly doubt with this you're going to come anywhere near close to a 7-figure business. But what you are going to have is an extremely profitable one. Yep.
Are you trying to show the screen?
Yes. Yep. Okay. Let me.
I mean, you see the screen from the camera, this camera.
No. Maybe when my computer went. Yeah, that's what happened. So the computer went quiet. Let me push it again. For some reason, you saw the screen keeps going black here. Yeah. And when it does that, apparently it like kicked it off. So just give me a sec. Share screen. I want to share entire screen. And I'm going to push it. So when I looked at this keyword, I saw that there was a lot of meat on the bone, but that this would be one of the main keywords that would be relevant for this product. Why is it not pushing? Oh yeah, it is pushing. it would be one of the main keywords that are relevant for this product, and there's not even a single ad being run on it. Right? So everybody should see, give it a delay. There's a bit of a delay on YouTube, so give it like a minute if you don't see it. So here we go. So we're looking at this. So there's a repair kit that you can get with this. Plus, it looks like a lot of the pieces of the repair kit, like you don't need to buy a kit every time, and there is almost nothing in the way of standalone pieces of this that you'd want to get. Like, for example, the glue, which I thought this was. So backing up, no, I seriously doubt you're going to make a 7-figure business out of this, but my viewpoint, my personal one, just based off doing very well with a lot of brands over 15 years, is it doesn't matter how big the niche is as long as you dominate it, right? And this has just got a huge kick me sign on it. I mean, you look at this. You run one ad, you're potentially paying pennies per click just to have your ad show up. And if you don't think that you can beat the images that are appearing here for these products, you're mad, right? I like to throw in a lot having a technological differentiator for the product, which is the app. Some cool examples of that is coming. But one of the main questions you're going to have when doing this, unless this is your profession, and in that case you're buying somebody else's brand, you're already brand loyal for something, but when you're looking at this is, how in the world do you do it? Right? So unless, does anybody here know how to do this? Is it like intuitive for anybody? Right, it's not. It's like, how on God's green earth do you know how to do it? No. You were smiling like, do you know how to do it?
The actual classes?
Yeah.
No.
No.
I meant like how to source it.
No, oh yeah, source it, yeah. But like, I'm looking at this and I'm just like, there's no freaking way. Like, most people are not going to know how to do this. And for this thing to sell over 1,000 is wild to me. So I looked at this. Obviously, you want to do more research. You got to find a supplier. I don't want to bore everybody with where to look for a supplier, but this is totally doable. If I was doing this, I'm also not going to turn this into like how to create a good listing, which, by the way, I have a note to ask you guys. Would occasionally, maybe in this segment, I don't want to do a standalone 2 to 330 class, but in this segment to maybe do like a listing teardown, like we pick some listings and manually go through it, and I'll tell you, I think this should be done different and this, and you could weigh in and we could do that back. Does that seem helpful? Yeah, okay. I figured, I just wanted to ask. And you guys are obviously not liking the polls I put out there because you guys don't interact with the polls on Telegram. So okay, so that's a bunch of reasons why I like that product. Let me see what else I found. So this is kind of like a rabbit holing process. So this is what happened, and before I jump into the next tab is, I kept going, and I stumbled upon this. And I was like, $165 for a bowl. There's no way, right? But 18 reviews, 4 stars. So if you're going to get 18 reviews and you're going to get fake reviews for your product at a price point like that, it's 5 stars. You're getting 5 stars and it's 18. So the majority of that is authentic. So I started digging into this. So they use real 24 karat gold. Obviously, that can become slightly problematic. So I just reached out to some people in the gold space that I knew, and I was like, hey, talk to me about this. Like, what would this happen? And they started basically saying real 24 gold. There is a big spectrum of the type of gold that you can put into what is real 24 gold. That word real leaves you to, it could be real plated 20, you know what I mean? You could do all kind of stuff. Not to mention that's the only one that did it, but still, I wouldn't sell this for $165, or maybe you do. And if this thing sells like one every 3 days, you're still looking at it making several thousands of dollars of profit per month off of this product. But I bet you if this thing sold for $64.99 or $74.99, better image, this would do really well as a listing. So I stumbled upon that. But then my mind goes to, when I'm looking at this, is differentiation, right? I don't want to do the same thing that everybody else is doing in most cases. So I got it written out on that board. I'm thinking about creating a product for everybody. If you want to glance at it at the back and get a peek at the end of that little whiteboard that Tom helped me put up. But I have what I call like a scale of differentiation that I put on the board. And welcome, man. Welcome, man. Yep. Bienvenido. Yeah, wherever you want. You could help yourself to food and drink, too.
All right, thank you.
So when you're looking at this, there's what I call like a scale of defensibility. And it's like the ways to differentiate, you change the color of the thing. That's usually the one that everyone kind of dies on. But it's also the easiest one for other people to do. It's not very defensible. And then you keep stepping your way through. So one of the things that you can do that's pretty early on in that chart of defensibility is shape. And that's differentiating on shape. And if done right, it's great. Like, for example, I don't want to get into the thermos space. I don't want to compete with Contigo and Yeti and all those massive, like those behemoths in that space. But if I decided to create a heart-shaped thermos or canteen, I would not be number one because that's not the shape that everyone's looking for. And as long as the bottom allows it to sit in that little holder in the car, I could dominate it, sell it for a lot more because nobody else has it. So I've differentiated by shape and I've carved out a little niche just for myself here, and I can dominate that one little area. The hard part, I need to create a mold. And if it's a thermos, it's probably going to be several thousands of dollars to create that mold. But that is a deterrent for other people to get in and do it, and I've carved out this nice little cool space for me. So now I'm looking at this product and I'm like, well, kintsugi, we could teach people how to do it. We could buy it already done. We could sell kits on how to do it. And then I'm like, what about anyone that just loves the look, the aesthetic of this, and that doesn't want to make one, right? They just want to have it in their home. What would be the obvious thing? So I think a bowl is one of the obvious shapes, and that's why he did it. But I was like, let's just think of some weird ones. So my mind went to the example of the Heart Canteen. So I did. And we got this. So it's 269 bucks. It's 99% ceramic. There is some gold inlays in it. It does not fly. It also is selling for 269 bucks, right? And the cost on this is not going to be high at all. I mean, I've sourced products from people who had this in their catalog, like this type of flour, whatever in their China. You know what I'm talking about, Tom? And I mean, this thing is like pennies for this material. Are you going to pay a little more cost for this? Yes, maybe. But there's so much margin in this. I don't think you should sell this one, but what I'm saying is when you looked at the product and you're now like, oh, kintsugi, this is a thing. Now you could just start plugging in products. Like if I put kintsugi, I don't know if I did that on the next one, but yeah, I put in coffee mugs. So I'm like, is there? And they look bad. They look really, really bad. What's out there. But what does look good is, I mean, it's $26.99 for 2 mugs, you know, is not bad. And so it looks like this could be a way that you could, this is a theme you're going to hear me talk about a lot. I call it like a Venn diagram. And it's like, okay, we have kintsugi, and then we have insert thing, heart, cup, whatever. If you make them overlap, what does that intersection look like between those Venn diagrams, and is that a product? So if you're looking at chocolate and nuts, 2 different categories, massive amounts of keywords. When we put them together and they intersect, what do you have? Somebody help me here. Chocolate nuts, right? So the more of those categories you can put together, the higher it can get. So if we get into caffeine, chocolate, and nuts, work with me here. We put this together, what do we have? Caffeinated chocolate nuts. So like, you're creating these niches, and this is the exercise I do versus using this tool, which is just going to lead you down this really nasty rabbit hole of no profits. And you can do this. So now think of like when you're looking at products and you're looking, it's like, man, can I kintsugi this thing? You know, like maybe add that in. But I think it was a cool product. Since we have Jungle Scout as a sponsor now, one of the additions that we're going to do in future of these product sourcing is I know a lot of you I feel personally too hung up into the keywords at this stage. There is a time for that. But at this stage, I don't think it is. But just so that everybody leaves here with a complete picture, what I'll do is I'll have like 2 products, and then we'll actually break out the Jungle Scout side of it. So 1, you know how to use it correctly, and 2, you feel like you have all the important data to make an informed buying decision. Yeah? Okay. How's the stream, by the way? Anybody raise their hand and say, stop sharing my brand? No. Okay. All right. This next one, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but it's the final thing on this kintsugi thing. I have not done this personally. Everybody clap by a second when this guy walks in. Hold on. Welcome. No. So this next one, I don't have a lot of experience doing this. So anytime that's the case, I try to be very upfront about that. But I am dying to try this. And the next thing I launch, this is going to play a part in it. And that is this next one. And there was a bunch more, but so this instructor on Udemy too, by the way, has had over 703 students for this one course. And this course is how to repair large chips with kintsugi, right? So if we were to go back, and it's 50 bucks, by the way, but if we were to go back and we were to look at this product and we did have an app there and the app had a complete breakdown on a course on how to actually do this thing, that's just with the product and it's included, it's going to do significantly better. You're going to be able to sell it for more. I think adding this app, you turn this into a $24.99 or a $25.99 or a $29.99 product. So that's what I like. Anyhow, I like, basically what I'm saying is 2024 and beyond, I think one of the criteria that you should throw in with your physical product is, everyone talks about TikTok and YouTube and all these other places, but if you have a product that just sucks for content creation, or it's like, how exciting are you going to, what kind of exciting things are you going to do with your garlic press, right? Like, you're very limited on what you can do. Why not add the criteria in, or like, does this product lend itself very well to content? And this kintsugi thing, am I saying that right? Yeah, kintsugi, this kintsugi thing does. Like, you would watch that. You would show broken, finished, process, time lapse. You have a great video. So one of the other things I like to add in there is, why not profitably acquire customers? So if you have a course out there, it sucks in the Ecom space, especially if you're an Amazon seller, and you go to like, yeah, but you're gonna be talking about Amazon? Because there's this great divide between Amazon and real e-commerce, if you will, the other side of the world. And when they're talking about digital products and courses, you're like, well, that's not for me. I'm an Amazon seller. It doesn't apply to me. I think it should. I think you should be looking at this as this is a way that I could just acquire customers. Because guess what? If you sell this course profitably, guess what they're going to want? They're going to want the materials to do it. So why not profitably acquire customers, right? I know it's like such a foreign concept for Amazon sellers, but like, why the heck not? If any of you heard the podcast I did recently, everyone's supposed to raise your hand at this point, by the way. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. But I did one, and it's like, you know what? I don't want to sell an ice cream scooper. I don't want to compete with these Chinese sellers on an ice cream scooper, but I will sell a course on how to make homemade ice cream profitably. And guess what they're going to want? They're going to want an ice cream scooper. They're going to want a whipped cream thing. They want to know how to make all those things. So if I sell those products, and we're going to talk about more of that in a second. So everybody with me on that? Any questions on the kintsugi? Does anyone hate it? The only thing I don't like about it right now, just in my current state, is a lot of these products, you're thinking China. I bet you can avoid China for some of these, but the easiest route, I hate to say it right now, is probably going to China. But fortunately, there's BD Inspection, there's those other companies, and you can inspect your stuff to get it from China. So it's not the end of the world, but right now I'm very focused on like, what can you source from the U.S.? What are consumable products that you can get from the U.S. So like, or in the country that you're going to be selling. So that's all. But that's my only one that I'm like, on it. Otherwise, I think this is a very extraordinarily easy brand to launch right now. Next one. So my kids are in jiu-jitsu. So this has been, some of you I've talked about on the side about this. There's two people in the group who come up to me, they're like, hey, can you point me in the right direction on putting this together? The only reason I'm showing this right now, after those two people have communicated with me, is both of them went in with, and I'm not going to say names, but I think both of them went in with like a $5,000 budget to pull off the brand, and I highly advised against it, and then it got to ordering time, they decided not to do it. So the only reason I'm showing this right now is because they did that. Otherwise, if you come to me and say, I'm doing this brand, I'm not going to do this. I've made mistakes, I'll slip, but for the most part, like, I won't do that, right? And so this is free for anyone, but jiu-jitsu is such a massive thing, and there's so much content that can be created, and the people that are in it, by the way. Like, I'm like baby in it, but like, I'm around the people and the parents and everybody in the competitions, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, people are in this, right? Shockingly though, when you talk to people in jiu-jitsu, there is no brand loyalty. There is no like one brand that you go to. It's not like there's no Nike in the space. And when you look here, you kind of see that. But one thing you do see is, I put in jiu-jitsu, and it's a good sign that all of the listings are jiu-jitsu related. Unlike when we looked for, I'm never going to get this. Unlike when we looked for kintsugi, we had a hair care product pop up as number 2 with no ads, right? But this case, everything's on point. There is a ton of room here for these types of products. The price points are really nice. I was actually listening to a Joe Rogan podcast. Don't beat me up for listening to Joe Rogan, guys, but I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, and he's very into jiu-jitsu. And he mentioned something that I didn't even think about, but I started doing some searches, and if you wanted to sell higher end, like the people in jiu-jitsu that are looking for these, this is called a gi, but the people that are looking for these gis that want higher end, they get them made out of hemp. And a hemp gi is apparently indestructible because of the material of what hemp is. So like if you wanted to go into the higher end, there's great keywords around here if you put in like hemp gi that you can get. Some of these products here that I really, really like and I've seen in person, these, you're running into oversize issues, but again, as long as you can figure out how to compress the product. Anybody here ordered a pillow off Amazon recently? A pillow for your house? Well, you're going to get some really high-end pillows. You can buy them on Amazon, and you're thinking you're going to get this massive box, and you don't. They put it in this plastic, and they suck everything out of it. They pancake this thing. And then you get it, and you're like, this is not the fluffy thing. Like, you cut it out of the bag, and it jumps, right? But you're looking at it, and you're like, this thing's not going to expand to what I'm seeing in the picture, right? And it does. It just comes back. You hit it a few times, and it's this massive thing, and you'll never get it back in that bag, by the way. So in a return, you save the box. But you obviously want to think about something with that. But I dove around in this, and there's a ton in this jiu-jitsu space with zero brand loyalty. Shocking, that is really good. I mean, look at this. This is $18.99 for a mouth guard. I mean, this should be a $2.99, but they put fangs on this thing, right? It's unreal. It's like $18.95. And guess what? I bet you this thing's got a nice subscribe and save on it, you know, or should, because you're going to keep getting those things. But anyhow, the only thing I did not like in this space is this. When you got into like the rash guards, which is pretty much like shorts and undershirts with like that, I don't know the material, but they call them rash guards. To me, that's too close to apparel. I feel like the gis are like a step away, even though you are wearing it. There's going to be some returns. But I don't want to sell, you know, leggings and these form-fitting shirts or anything. I thought this was great, and they could have done a lot better with the image. But knowing that my son going to do, or not my son yet, but like other kids in his group, they're going to go compete, and you compete either with a gi or not. And if it's not, it's regular clothing. But when you try to grip this gi stuff, your finger strength disappears quickly. So having something here that someone can train with, maybe even bundling it, I would say, with this, I think is a great opportunity. So any questions on that so far? No? Okay. Nobody here should go out and start a jiu-jitsu studio. That's not what I'm saying at all. But if you did have a studio, or apply to whatever business you do have, or teaming up with somebody who does jiu-jitsu classes online, like they do online tutoring, and putting an app here or something where basically you're going to teach them some specific moves. Well, lost my voice there. Thank you. And you're going to teach them some specific moves, and they see that that's already just coming with this product they're ordering. Thank you, Room. I think would do well. This next one, do we have time? Yes. I'm going to try to run through this next one. I think there's a few, I think. No, this was not. I was getting rid of that.
Can you go back to that mouth guard for a second?
Nope. Yeah, I can.
I'm intrigued by it from the standpoint of, if you go into the storefront itself, what other mouth guards are they selling for like different sports? You can do it cross sport.
Gloves, socks, mouth guards. So football, lots of football, every color of football, for every team, what a license. I don't know how they're not doing licensing. I mean, they obviously have the numbers to do it. More football.
Yeah, like that. Is that all just,
And extend, rush mouth.
so they've just taken that mouth guard and they just put it into the category
Of jiu-jitsu, right.
You put it into boxing.
Which it is a thing, is a lot of these schools, from what I understand, they force you to buy a gi and the other apparel, but they don't force you to wear a mouth guard. But the parents, Ricky, who's not here today, who's celebrating his son's birthday, that's how I know Ricky from jiu-jitsu. Ricky actually has told us several times, I think it was a mouth guard, was it? Or it was a jock strap or a cup. They don't have you wearing any of that. And you notice you didn't see any of that there. But yeah, so it looks like somebody did this. and you're in jujitsu and you want to like bare your teeth and show your fangs and look all rough and tough. So like
But I'm looking to do this like across.
baseball or what? Yeah. All you have to do is add the word baseball in, and next thing you know, it's specific to baseball. Yeah.
And it's clone, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's a consumable for the most part, I would think, because most people will get.
Or like, forgot your anniversary mouth guard, you know, like, because you're about to get beat up. So yeah, that's a really good point. So, okay. This next one I actually really like. I'm not going to do it. I just really like how creative this thing was, okay? But I think it would just fit well into what we're talking about right now. So this is how it started, is my son and my son and daughter again. And notice the theme here. I'm just doing my day-to-day stuff. I'm not saying I'm blocking out 1 hour to open up Egg software and find stuff. Eventually it just becomes like a habit. In the YouTube meetup we're gonna do later, part of what I'm gonna share there that I learned, it's almost the same thing. Like, you're gonna learn how to spot these patterns and like what the competition's doing, and eventually it doesn't take you a long time to do it. Eventually you just glance at something and you're like, oh, that works because of bang, 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 and you move on. So for me, doing this for 15 years, that's kind of where I'm at. But it quickly gets there. You don't have to do 15 years of like product sourcing to like for it to really click. And this is just the stuff that's clicking as I go about my day. And there's a lot more. And not all of it looks good, by the way. It's not like everything I think about is good. But my kids love balloons. I think all kids love balloons. I'm personally getting to an age where a balloon pops and it's like bothering me. But like, they have these balloons and he brings me a balloon and he's like, turn it into a dog. And I'm like, it's not that type of balloon. It's just a round balloon. If I twist this thing, it's gonna blow up. It's a specific balloon you gotta get. But they don't understand that. So I was like, let's get them some balloons that you can twist. I don't know how to twist balloons, by the way. So, but there are balloons you can do it and will make you look like a balloon twister, I'm telling you. So they got those balloons, really with a pump, thank God, and like you pump these things. I still don't know how to make a chihuahua out of these things, right? But apparently Joey Balloon does, right? So Joey Balloon on YouTube does this. By the way, when we get into YouTube, this is pretty much an example of what you do not do with your thumbnails at all. But this guy's organically put together nearly 10,000 subscribers, right? And if you look, a few things I looked here, and I'm going to get to the actual products in a second. But his main URL that he wants people to go to is his newsletter, right? Again, I think this is horrible, but it's his newsletter. I've gotten on it, and I've looked at the stuff, and I think he does a genius job of actually pushing his products. I can't trace what his brand is, but where did it go? Don't tell me I got rid of it. Okay. But there is a bit of a giveaway. Let me find the Caterpillar one. There's a Caterpillar one, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. And you're going to maybe start appreciating this. Here we go. Don't worry, you don't have to listen to it. But when you come down on Mr. Joey the Caterpillar, in the video, by the way, 3 times he talks about the specific quality of balloons you need to be able to pull this off and where to get them. And here's his supplies. They're all links that go almost to the same brand on Amazon, which happens to be one of the better performing brands on Amazon. So it looks like this person creates content, right? Short videos, does not put a lot into his backdrop or background, doesn't get stuck on any of that stuff. He obviously has a big light you can see from these handles and on his face right here pointing at him. And he just puts together shapes of balloons. And I'm not talking about like, you should be impressed like like Star Wars figurine. No, I'm not talking about any of that. I'm just talking about junky stuff that anyone could put together that they watch a 30-minute video on. And he's making money. He's referring people here. So I jumped over, take a look, and I put in, I never even thought to look at twisting kit, but I put in balloon twisting, and I saw kit. But look at all these other things. I don't even know what that is. Balloon twisting Qualitex. A balloon twisting apron, right? But I just looked at balloon twisting kit. Anybody notice anything here? Because sometimes you think I might be just trying to push or sell something, right? But like, anybody see this? Web app included. When I'm talking about an app showing up, this is it. And mind you, this is one of the newest sellers in this category, trying to catch up to some of these bigger sellers. And I bet you a lot of this has to do with it. And all it's saying, in a very good way, is they are showing an app on their main image of this listing, says web app included, included is a key word, balloon play video tutorials. That's it.
Are you able to grab people's email with that app?
100%. Well, you can't put on the screen, join our email list via the app, but you definitely can have that there, and then the main screen you have is where you're registering the warranty on your product and you get it. And then once they've done that, you do push notifications with the app, the video tutorials, they could subscribe to your YouTube, you can do anything you want at that point.
That's not against Amazon?
No.
Wow.
No. Now again, if you put on your screen this, or when they go to the app, it says, we'll give you a full rebate if you show proof of your review. Like, you can make anything against the rules, right? But no. Yeah, so phenomenal way that this brand is growing. I personally don't like this category because of how messy it is and how many little balloons there are, but I do like this category if somebody was saying, you know what, I want to create a balloon, I want to create a YouTube channel, I think it would be stupid easy to do balloon animals. I could totally see where that would work. But my least favorite of them, I just noticed that had an app with the person that's growing, so I wanted to just bring that up because you don't see that often in the wild. And what was this one? Oh, this other one was an interesting category, but when you first start looking at soap making, no good. Heavily competitive when you come into soap making. But I was looking at soap making again because I wanted to start getting my kids do some like door-to-door sales. You could laugh all you want, but it was like, if they make some soap, we're gonna go knock on the doors and they're gonna sell this soap and they're gonna be the best salesman in the world within 18 months, right? No. But I wanted them to get the process of like making some soap and making it and then needing to go sell it. And I looked at it and I was like, I don't see anything here that I really like. The thing that I liked the most was this machine here, but again, pure China play, and I don't feel like doing that. But when I searched for it, everything started changing when I found this. Organic colloidal oatmeal. So when I went in here, if you change your search, when you go into soap making, to oatmeal soap making, the whole category, and your results really change. But apparently this is one of the main ingredients to do this if you want to make really good, oatmeal soap. This has sold over 500 in the last month and only has 196 reviews. So I'll let you, for time's sake, I want to leave some time for questions. I could go a lot deeper on this. I rambled, but you could crush this listing. It's not a bad listing, by the way, but you could crush it. I mean, the packaging just leaves a lot to be desired. But they look like they attempted to follow some kind of pattern that's decent. But anyhow, I want to leave some time for questions. Check it out if you want.
What's the price point on that?
24. Oh, let me see if I can get to it again. Why is it doing this to me? I just had it. It's like disappearing on me.
When you do a search for that, how many other people come up and search? Don't mind me asking. And copying and pasting colloidal oatmeal.
Here, $24.95.
How many other people come up and search?
126. Yeah. If you go in there and you search colloidal oatmeal and colloidal oatmeal soap making, it just changed if you just go in there and look at soap making, you're going to say, Carlos has lost his mind. Like, this is horrible. But I looked at this, and the use cases that this colloidal, I can't even pronounce it, this colloidal oatmeal is used for, this is a very big category. And this unlocks a lot of other stuff. So, again, these are all things that I just found, I'm putting you to sleep. These are all things that I just found randomly going about my day that are good for product sourcing. You know what?
When you go into the top seller of colloidal, I can't just, that guy right there.
Yeah.
Is that, no, not Shay, the other guy, it's got a powder.
This one?
No, I don't think that's gonna be a good one. The one, that one.
This one.
Yeah, go in there, just see what else they have in there.
By Dirty Treasures.
It's dirty, so, I guess to clean stuff, so is that the only thing oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they got a big jug of the colloidal.
Yeah.
Do you need a special, like, certification for this type of stuff?
Yeah, you need some kind of something for everything nowadays, but you're going to work with,
There's a can for it, you don't consider can for it?
no, this is oatmeal. I mean, you're going to work with a company in the U.S. and you're going to buy from them, and they're going to have everything they need, that you need to be able to sell this. Now, if you just, I don't know what the process is to make this, but if you're just at home rubbing rocks together and like grinding oatmeal into powder, then yeah, they're going to be like a lot of stuff that you need, probably like to inspect your equipment and everything else on your packaging to be able to do this. But I'm assuming that they're getting this from, again, this is a PLMA possibility. Yeah, Andres?
What browser add-ons do you recommend using for analysis as you need in
I don't do my product research on this computer, and when I'm doing product research, it is the only time that I don't use any extensions or anything like that. They're just, I think it's just because when I started doing it, there were none. And that's just been my habit for doing it, and like, I need to be able, everything that I need to see about the product, I can see on Amazon, and initially. So I want to see that when I search for the main keyword, and don't get too lost into main keyword. I totally understand how we're going to discover more main keywords. But initially, if you're looking at, you're looking at this, kintsugi, guess what? Kintsugi's one of your core keywords, and when you put in kintsugi up here, kintsugi heart, mug, hair, repair kit, that's enough for me to see some results. And I'm looking to make sure that why is this breaking? I'm looking to make sure that the results that come up are relevant to what I searched. If they're not, that's a possible opportunity, or it's possible that the category is too small. The other one I'm looking at is there a full battery of ads? So these first four placements should be ads. It's pretty soon going to be Amazon's biggest profit source. So they are milking this, and you guys are feeling it by running paid ads. The fact that there's none here is either a big red flag or an opportunity. And for me, that's enough to look at this and say, okay, there's something here to look at. Either let's disqualify this with a software, in this case it would be Jungle Scout, or let's validate it. The other thing I ask myself is, still, what store would I walk into locally to go get my kintsugi kit or my kintsugi stuff? And I can't think of one. So that, to me, that means this is a product that most people buy online nowadays, right? So all that fits, and it's enough for me to decide whether to put more effort into, or for me to jump over on Notion and write it down as an idea, just so that I can save it and not panic that I'm going to lose it, and I can revisit it another day. That's it. I know that's not the most helpful, but I really believe that if you start with the software in the beginning and with these extensions, you're looking at the wrong stuff, and it's going to force you to put filters that you've heard from other people and criterias in place that are going to disqualify a lot of products. Yeah? Any other questions? All right, so I am going to, I'm going to stop the stream so we can just start talking regularly now, and I'll take any questions that anybody has, and then we'll get into the presentation today. Let me. Yeah. Well, it's not a helmet.
No, I know. I just
Yeah, for sure. Go for it.
Star Wars. Yeah.
We thought it was a helmet, but I don't know. I don't think your head might fit, but Fernando's, no, definitely not. Okay. Any questions anybody has? By the way, we're going to do some questions before 2 p.m. And before we actually start. So it's the beginner hour. So I'm going to prioritize beginner questions. We could pick on some people. I'm going to pass this product around for everybody. It's kind of big, so be careful. But what I wanted to show is a lot of the times people refuse to sell fragile products online, because rightfully so. You've seen FedEx, football spike your product on your doorstep, or you saw pictures somewhere of like how rough boxes are treated. And if you sell a fragile product, it could get broken. And then you know how generous Amazon is with broken items and refunding you your money. But this product is about as fragile as it gets. And I'll show you something. A bunch of these, right? Glass. They're not snow globes, Tom. Calm down. By the way, I didn't love the category, but when I started going down the rabbit hole of kits,
To repair the brownness in the globe.
you can do kits to make snow globes, was a fairly large category. I could see getting into snow globe making kits more than just, and I bet you if you got into snow globe making kits, it would pain me to say this, but if it did well enough, it made sense to add snow globes, right? Which is hard for me to say. But I'm gonna,
You know how snow globe's brown, like the glass brown, is that what you mean? Like,
I've never had a snow globe, nor long enough for it to brown. So I want you to pay attention to the type of packaging that's inside of here, this spongy material. And anytime you're thinking about selling you look and you like everything that you see on Jungle Scout, and you looked and you validated it, you just pass it around and take a look inside if you want. But that material on the inside, I don't know the name of it, but that's what I use for all fragile products. I thought about getting it and dropping it here in front of everybody, but then I was thinking of what's the Uber billionaire, the Tesla owner, Elon Musk, and his hammer on the window. I'm like, watch this thing smash here in front of everyone. But we have dropped it a few times before we knew what was inside, and it protected it fine. The sponginess or the density of the foam really matters. So if you tell your supplier to just make that material or to put it in that material, you got to make sure that the one they gave has enough resistance to protect your product. Otherwise, you're going to put it on there and it's got the density or the resistance of like friable styrofoam, and it's going to smash against the floor immediately. So I don't know how to rate or grade the density to protect it, but I think you're going to see when you grab or you touch that one that it's extremely durable and can protect whatever product you have that is fragile. Yeah, again, I'm not saying to do that product. The material itself is not that heavy.
It is. The glass is heavy.
The glass was heavy,
Yeah.
right, which speaks volumes to the material protecting it, because the heavier it is, the more protection it needs. The fact that there's also multiple fragile things inside of there is a big issue too, because if you get one fragile item is easy to protect. Multiple fragile items in the same packaging, they smash together, right? Kind of like don't put all your glass products in the bag at Publix, which they always do for me.
I don't like the remote. The entire thing can be a little different.
Yeah. I don't like almost anything about the product. I just noticed the packaging. And since I struggled to communicate it to you guys, I was like, let me just show it. But no, I do not like the actual product. And I guess for anyone on the stream, very difficult to see, but it's this spongy material. But it's a product the whole product is encased in it. And it's almost cut out, and it's much thicker than this. Here, so you see this comes on the top of it. So it protects the top. Any questions? Anybody stuck on anything this week? Any wins to celebrate from anybody this week? Really? No losses and no wins? Does that mean nobody wants to talk, or nobody wants to talk first, or? You got a lot of returns.
Having a problem with women, they don't know how to iron. So
That what?
they don't know how to iron, so they apply the keratin.
Man, you got to be careful saying that. You just started the sentence off with the problem is women don't know how to iron, and then you're like, and I was like, oof, it's 2024, like things are going to get thrown.
Yeah, so I have to do something like the app, like a tutorial.
Talk to him.
I have a friend that's going through the same issue.
Huh? Oh, the cubes, yeah.
Carlos, what's the future of TikTok now that the government is trying to ban it? How is it going to affect people who has TikTok shops and things like that?
My TikTok.
I'm sorry. It's just-
No, that's a good one.
biggie.
I'm obviously putting the disclaimer out there that people much smarter than me, or not, but that are in control of doing things and are motivated by things that are beyond my comprehension, are going to be the ones deciding this. My gut tells me that that ship has sailed and they ain't banning anything. Should it be banned or anything like that? Who knows? What the reason they're saying to ban it, I guess, is that it's owned by the Chinese and that the Chinese can use it as like a disinformation, propaganda, to influence an election and all this other stuff. On one hand, I want to say people are not that stupid. But then in the last 2 elections, there's been a lot of information, and it's like, yeah, you know what? If you could show my candidate with AI saying this thing that really is against me, and then I never see the video afterward claiming that's a fake, I'm going to just believe that that's true. So I think there's some truth to that. I don't understand how that couldn't be done if it was owned by a U.S. company, because that kind of implies that U.S. companies wouldn't do something like that. But we kind of just saw that happen with Twitter and then Facebook with Cambridge Analytica. So it's like that side of it just gives me a headache to think about, and I'm just hoping that somebody that really cares about the country, the people, and everything just makes a good decision. So
Right.
that's all I can do.
Right.
The side that I do really like is I think Amazon having competition is good for us. And while TikTok is like a Tic-Tac size competition to Amazon right now, like a gnat, at least they are, because Walmart is definitely not any kind of meaningful competition to Amazon. So TikTok does not suffer from the eBay Walmart effect that I call it, which is, say 3 houses, 1 house, all the same cars, same type of house, very affluent. And in 1 house, there's a stack of boxes that just came in that say eBay. There's another one that says Walmart, and there's another one which are Amazon Prime. And then you had to tell me which house made more money. You would say the Amazon house. They'd probably say they're more hip, they make more money, this and that. And in reality, it might not be true, but what it actually means is that this house is willing to pay more for convenience, and in most cases, more for the product, because the other ones are probably bargains.
Right.
But that's not the reality. eBay is known as an auction,
Right.
as an auction platform, even though the majority of their products are by now, and Walmart is known for what the shoppers are kind of like at 2 a.m. at Walmart. And I used to be one of those, but like,
People of
there's
Walmart.com.
they just call them Walmart people. You know what I mean?
Walmart
Like,
people.
so Amazon doesn't have that. TikTok does not have that.
Right.
So TikTok has I think, a better chance than almost anyone currently to do it. One of the things I'm going to touch on as a launch strategy is going to have to do with TikTok. So my short answer now is I don't think they're going to be banned.
Okay.
Even though an article came out, and was it ByteDance who owns them? ByteDance came out and said we'd rather fold it than give a company which would then have to show access to how our algorithm works.
Right.
We'd rather shut it down. So that was, I don't know if that's like a Trump art of the deal and they're just bluffing with them, or if they're willing to do it. It's going to be interesting. I think we should look at 2 things. One is I think we should look at how to use TikTok right now. I think that is worth looking at now. There's enough there to say we should be looking at it. TikTok stores or TikTok shops. The other thing we look at is building on other people's land as sellers. Like, you want to sell on Amazon? Fantastic. But think off Amazon. Think about your
Diversify.
Shopify store.
Yeah,
Let me know if the screen went down too. Well, it should have already, yeah. But if you're going to build on Amazon, fine, but think about your Shopify store. Think about revenue streams off of Amazon as well. Amazon has always just been an amazing place to launch products.
Right.
But people like me, and I guess many of you, just stayed on it and made so much money off the platform that it's very easy to get lazy and just stop thinking about other things. Like, why would I put money into Google ads if I'm getting such a great return with Facebook ads? You know what I mean? Amazon ads. So you don't do it. You just want to be comfortable. But I think that's a mistake. Because then you can get that email from Amazon saying you're suspended, and now all of a sudden you got to pull your kids out of private school, you got to fire people, you got to do all kind of stuff because somebody, with reason or not, just suspended your business. I don't want to be in that position. So.
Carlos, highly recommend, just from my side. Thank you. So we're doing on TikTok. Could you consider starting a TikTok group? I have a lot of questions for that. Yeah.
So when you say a TikTok group, do you mean a Telegram TikTok
Yeah.
group?
Yeah.
So I'll create one. But the thing is, we have some, and what happens is there's like a whole bunch of excitement around a topic, and then we create one. But if there's not someone there who's willing to, I don't know, it doesn't have to be religiously once a day, but maybe once a day post something relevant and kind of keep the conversation going alive, then I'd be willing to open one. Are you going to be that person?
I can be. We are running ads today, and I was trying to test out. Just share a little. Maybe you guys seen that a lot. Yesterday, my husband Christopher went to USPS. There's two Ecom sellers. Both of them, they have massive packages, and roughly more than 200 for each person. Very small little packages, not like a big one, like a small one, like a $10. Could be something like that. They were just like dumping, like checking one by one. So once we see that, because we do it such a thing, and I know that's definitely TikTok. So TikTok definitely is a powerful platform. So we are confident, and we wanna do something with them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, with TikTok, you're mentioning TikTok for brands to sell,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Send me a message.
We talked.
Yeah. Send me a message.
It was
We'll do
it was amazing, and yeah. Once we see that, we feel like we can do that too.
Yeah. I'll do it. I'd be glad. I wish we had one for every single topic there was, but if there's not someone that's willing to be, you don't have to be like the know-it-all, you don't have to be an admin, but more of a moderator to keep the conversation going. Or, like for example, we have a drop shipping chat, by the way, that I don't think a message has been put in almost a year. It just, when I look at that and I have my back end stuff connected to it, it's like, should I fold this? Like it doesn't look like there's a lot of activity, but I don't think that would be the case for TikTok. I think we gotta be clear on, it's not a TikTok influencer account. It's a TikTok for brands, and one of the topics may be like how to work with influencers to sell your stuff, but the main focus is for brands. I like it.
You mentioned using local suppliers. What are your thoughts on Chinese suppliers versus local suppliers for your price points? Any sites you could recommend for finding local suppliers?
Yeah, so I'm assuming you're talking about, the question is, when I mentioned how currently I'm looking more for local suppliers than I am Chinese suppliers, I don't think there's anything wrong with working with China. I mean, Lord knows for most of the products, if you want to bring it to market, like they're the best price, easiest to work with. There's certain products I don't know where you could get it other than China to be able to make a profit off of it. I know, and sometimes I think it's said more for like shock value. I think one part of that question was, what are some good sites in China to look for products? So
No, local suppliers. Sites for local suppliers.
Oh, so sites for local suppliers. I'm going to tell you to go to the Wizards of Ecom app, go to the bottom right in the files section, and go to the link that says PLMA catalog. Or you could wait for the next time we go to PLMA, but it's kind of, we get to see the amount of people that actually go and visit that link, and it's a shockingly small number. But I traveled. I mean, some of you people that went with me to China, and I'm not looking for any like, oh, Carlos is a great guy. But what was I sourcing when I went to China, when I went to PLMA last time? Nothing. I went there to find stuff for the group. So like I literally traveled to Chicago to go find stuff for the group, right? That's what I did. Like this was the whole plan, and to try to help other people in the group. To get a catalog, that has a gold mine of opportunities that I had to pay, was it $400 to $600, whatever it was, to even get, then get scanned, which Kevin scanned with OCR, to be able to have it accessible to everyone in the group. So you don't have to go to Chicago. And you, even though I think you should go on the next one, you don't have to go to Chicago. You don't have to walk the floor. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You just have to go in there and find what you want. To make it even easier, we scanned it OCR to where you could just get it as download it as a PDF and go to ChatGPT and just ask ChatGPT questions so it can query it for you. I mean, I don't know of a way to make it easier than that. And still, very few people go, but my answer is going to be the easiest place that I honestly know, without just trying to get you to download the app, is to go to the app. Bottom right says files. So Wizards of Ecom app, it's in wherever you get your apps. It's in the bottom right, says files. There's PLMA. You download the link, and then you go to ChatGPT 4. You're going to have to splurge, I think it's like $20, or what? How much does it cost now for 4? To get 4? $20.
Yeah.
Cancel at the end of the month if you want, but like just get it for $20. And then there's a paper clip that you, like when you upload something, drop that PDF in there. Sometimes it takes like 2 minutes because it is a big one. And then just ask it questions for the types of products you're looking for. Now, PLMA is predominantly, like, I mean, almost all consumable and like food type products. So if you're anti that and you're anti downloading the app, I would just have to say I think there's some underlying issues. Not picking on the person asking the question, but if you don't want food-based products, the majority of the non-consumable-based products, you're thinking outside of the US. Not all of them, but if you have to look at like food, liquids, anything that's like granular, powders, stuff like that, you could be in the US. And some exceptions, but if you're looking at, you want to make something like this is what you imagine, or maybe even glass cases or ceramic and stuff like that, you're probably looking at China as your best source. I would love to debate why you don't want to sell food and food-based products with anyone, but yeah, that's where I'm at. So guys, listen, trust me on this. Just go download that. For those of you who know me for a while, I have no ulterior motive. The better you do, the more people you're going to tell about the group. Like that's the evil agenda. It does not get easier than what I just said.
Quick question, because I haven't been here a hot minute. Are you planning a trip to China this year, or not on the
No. Actually, Alex Hayes and I think one other person was on their way to China just now.
Okay.
And he was basically warned at the airport not to go.
Really?
Yeah, because of, what was the word he said?
They were, Alex came to breakfast and said that when he was in New York about ready to, kind of like board the plane and do all his check-in stuff, they said, listen, we're warning you because they're being detained unlawfully in China at random. So not when you get there, but to leave and come back home.
Wow. Yeah, it's not so insignificant of a number that it's like, no. And
But there's a government warning.
apparently there's something else that you should know about is the rights are different there than here.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not judging, I'm really not judging here, seriously. But if you partake, like if you do a little smoking or you do like, you have anything in your system, obviously you're smart enough not to bring weed to China. But apparently if you have anything in your system, they can test you over there, and if you have it, they'll detain. That's what's happening to some people that we know. So, yep.
So you're definitely doing the PML.
So Alex Hayes was warned.
And he flew back. And
he flew back.
He said, I'm not going.
He said,
Oh, what was that? Canceled?
Yes.
Last week?
Thursday?
Monday
Yeah.
or Tuesday?
I just got back from China like probably a couple of weeks ago.
No issue, yeah.
How was it?
It was good.
Thursday?
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're gonna get like zapped. I'm just saying that they're warning you.
No, yeah, I'm just, it's good to know.
Yeah.
Do a little Google search on travel warnings in China, stuff like that. Just do a little search and you'll see that.
I was turned around in China in the past, yeah.
So you definitely, the group is still on do the PML this year?
As of right now, 100%, no, we're doing 100% PLMA.
Okay.
We're doing 100% PLMA, and
Especially for.
one reason why some of the events are going to be off, like we're going to do an OSC or its equivalent Ecom retreat.
I can hear nothing.
Oh, Carlos, they also would not let him, if you're there, they would not let you contact the US consulate.
Right, that was the other one.
So there must be something.
Yeah, so, no, it wasn't targeted to him, it was in general. This is not the first person in the group that's been told that, plus there was articles that were discovered that said the same thing. However, I do know plenty of people going to China without a problem too, so.
Remember
Hold on, let me-
Roy from the cruise, he just went to China.
No issues, right?
No issue.
Well, he's German.
Okay.
But, he had no issue getting in and out.
Yeah, your question though about the events that we have scheduled. As of right now, the only event that's 100% guaranteed is PLMA for this year. I
Are
can't
the
think of.
tickets are ready for that, or?
I'm
the
pretty sure
tickets?
they are.
Yeah.
I always buy it on the floor
Yeah.
Oh,
of the
yeah.
location. I always have. I know that sounds super reckless, but I've never,
Same as last year.
yeah. They're such a pain to do it, so I either do that, or I think there was one year in the last few years that it was Carmen or Tom or somebody had got a ticket and they went through that, and apparently I could just pay them
Yeah.
for my ticket, and it just gets bolted on without me having to do all that. But remember, I'm the same one that pays to the resale certificate instead of doing it for free. I don't have the patience for it.
How
So-
about you said that there's no OSC next year. Has any ground trip been planned yet?
Yeah,
Or talked
we,
about?
yeah, a lot of talking about it, some sitting down and looking at some stuff, but as of right now, it would be called Ecom Retreat. It would be a series of, and this is where it starts getting cloudy, like initially it's gonna be like a series of mega mansions next to each other. But we've heard a lot of other good ideas that maybe it's not mega mansion, maybe it's like a resort style event, and we're all at the same spot. The reason why it has not been as prioritized is we have a big move, which may not feel like a trip to you guys, but in September, we plan on moving this location. So we're gonna move to a much, much bigger location. Like this is, to put in perspective, this is 1,600, right? 1,600, I always say 17, but I think it's a 1,605 or it's 1,590, something, it's 1,600 square feet. We're gonna go to something that's 6,500 square feet. And that's gonna have conference rooms, offices, so like for example, in the beginner hour, if somebody needs a bunch of help with something, and you wanna be able to sit down one-on-one with someone, so-and-so, you're gonna be able to do that without disrupting the group or having to sit outside. We can have a workshop going on at the same time as a class without having to do another day. It's gonna allow us to do a lot more things, and that's a pretty big move. It looks like the location is gonna be on Northwest 25th and the Palmetto, so Doral. Yeah, for everybody here, with the exception of me, it's going to be a lot closer for you, because I can walk home. But like, for everybody else, it should save you at least 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, 'cause we live in
Right.
Florida.
Yeah, so I can't walk there, which sucks.
Is the PLMA list updated regularly? It's a PDF, so yearly, I guess you can say?
Yeah, it's updated yearly. The most current one is in the app, and if you want to get access, but you're not going to be able, I don't believe the quality is going to allow you to use ChatGPT, but if you want to access the previous years, you go to Facebook, go to the Wizards of Ecom Facebook group, go to the files, which is the thing, like, I wanted to fill that file section with everything for everyone, but no one goes to it. You go to the file section in the Facebook group, and you'll see it'll be called PLMA. There should be several files. I would go to the most recent one. Just go to the app, yeah.
Any thoughts on Helium-10 versus Jungle Scout? Which is the better product?
Yeah, I think, I think that, well, obviously, Jungle Scout is our sponsor now, so I obviously love their software. I do think they are the most accurate currently. I think Helium-10 is accurate enough. I don't want to turn this into like a Helium-10 bash. None of the tools out there are 100% accurate. They're supposed to like guide you, not answer everything definitively. Jungle Scout is a lot more open and empowering towards other people with their data. Like for example, when's the last time you saw somebody come through here as a representative of Helium-10? Guy from Jungle Scout was just here, and he went to dinner with us, and he was floating ideas out there on like how we could grow our business and how we could use Jungle Scout's data. The other massive one is that Jungle Scout integrates seamlessly with Data Dive, and Data Dive stopped doing their thing with helium-10. So, well, I don't know if it's totally stopped, but the data is just, what you can get from Data Dive right now through Jungle Scout is just not even close.
What about that course in helium-10 with Kevin King?
It's a good,
Has it been updated?
yeah, it's updated frequently. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the most popular course in the Amazon space. It's a freedom ticket.
Freedom ticket.
I don't think it does anybody harm to take that course. Like, it's good. Yeah, it's a good course. But you can take the course and then rely on all the other data and everything that's necessary from Jungle Scout, right? So like, it doesn't have to be an either/or thing. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna say if I get to only pick one, it's definitely gonna be Jungle Scout. And that was the case before a sponsorship, but they just have a lot more tools that you can actually use in your business. They have tons of resources out there, for whether you're doing wholesale, whether you're doing private label, like wherever you're at, like they're at. Also, if you're new to the space, you may not know it, but Jungle Scout was the first ones to do this. Like, they're the ones that kind of pioneered this, and all the examples and the how-tos and everything was Jungle Scout. Helium-10 came later. Yeah. Any other questions, or do we jump into? Good on questions? Anybody else? Okay, cool. So the topic today is going to be launch strategies or things to do. And we're talking specifically about private label, but these can also apply to private label, wholesale, or PL wholesale hybrids, which is basically your brand. One thing I'm going to put out there is if you ask 10 people what a product launch is, you'll get 10 different answers. All right? So for me, what a product launch is, why is this thing still showing? What a private label launch is not, it's not the day that your product goes live. Like, you just sent inventory in, and when the inventory became available, and now people can actually buy it, that's not a launch. That's just, it was activated. You know? That's it. And for most people, I think that's their idea of a launch. A launch is also not, in my opinion, the day that you turned on PPC. I get it, you turned on PPC, that's good, you're now running ads. But everyone's like, yeah, we launched the product. We launched it, and it just means you turned on ads. And most of those people will actually say, I'm not running ads even aggressively right now because I don't have reviews. So it's not really a launch. It's like you turned on ads, and that's great. There are things you could do as part of a launch strategy. Those will be some of the ones we'll touch on today. And by no means is it a complete comprehensive list. There's a lot of things you can do with a launch. The other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to keep, I think I'm going to do a good job at this, but I'm going to try to keep this launch list as white hat as possible. There's a lot of very effective black hat strategies out there for launching products that work well. But I'm going to try to stay away from it. If the conversation gets into that and we're talking about it, I'll just try to identify that thing as a white hat, gray hat, or black hat. And for those of you who don't know what that means, white hat is meaning it complies with Amazon's terms of service to the letter. I think if you're there, you're not doing very good. I think you should be white hat, but we're in a business, so we should push limits. We should be operating in at least a light gray. If you're not, I mean, you're going to get trounced by your competition because a lot of them are operating in a black hat. Gray is the area where it does not explicitly say your specific scenario in the terms of service that you can't do it, but you know, your gut tells you something. Like if you were sitting down having beers with Bezos and you were like, hey, I'm doing this thing and I'm getting a ton of reviews, like would he be cool with that, right? And probably not. You know, remember the rules are written to protect Amazon, right? They're not yours to protect you. They're to protect Amazon, and a lot of the times they're as ambiguous as possible. And then black hat it's clearly against the rules. it's been stated that it's against the rules, and in some cases, it's even just flat out against the law. So you're exposing yourself to account suspension or getting sued or arrested, I don't know. The first one I want to throw out there, and you guys are gonna, like, let me back this up for a second. This software is gonna sound like a crazy one, especially after I just said that we're gonna talk about nothing but white hat strategies, because this one is really synonymous with black hat. This software has actually been banned from the Amazon software provider network, right? So I kind of left it at that. I was like, I wasn't a huge fan of this software to begin with, but you know, Amazon removed them from the network, and all it did was they could no longer do this thing seamlessly, and you guys will know what I'm talking about in a second. But as the Amazon influencer program really started kicking in, and then I also know some brands that never stopped using this software, and everything's fine. But as the Amazon influencer started kicking in, I started using this software to get free products. And these were products that I could get for free and that also seemed to generate, that they had real sales, you know, good profit margins on the Amazon influencer side. So that's Rebate Key. So Rebate Key was pointed out, and doing rebates in exchange for ranking or reviews and everything was called out. They're no longer connected to Amazon, however, they are still working phenomenally. So consider that, but it seems like there's almost the people that are using Rebate Key to, in conjunction with a launch, are also no longer bragging about it because they don't want, anything happen? Good? They don't want the tool to go away. So it's still something that you can totally use in your launch. I do not recommend using it throughout the life of your product or anytime something goes wrong. But what Rebate Key does, if you do not know, is you get to post your product on Rebate Key, and then you get to say, I'm just going to use 100% because that's what really gets everyone's attention. And that is, let's say I have this product on Rebate Key, and I could say I'm willing to give a 100% rebate for this product. So you shop on Rebate Key, which I still shop on Rebate Key, and you see that you can get this carrying case for 100% rebate. You purchase, it gives you the link, so it's no longer seamless with Amazon, but you purchase this product on Amazon, you go back to Rebate Key and you give your order ID. They acknowledge it, you receive the product, no reviews, no anything like that. 30 days later, they send you a check for what you paid for the glass case. Anybody here using Rebate Key? No? No? So what happened there is Amazon sees that there was a purchase for this product, and therefore you are moving up in rank because of that purchase, you know, depending on the keywords involved, and you're also running ads at the same time, so it's a great way to get some easy rank when you're first starting. My throat is killing me today. One of the other ways, one of the other ways for ranking or for product launches that I'm really liking is what you mentioned earlier, and that's TikTok shops. It's just insane what's going on with TikTok shops and ranking products on Amazon. And ironically, there's nothing fancy you need to do. So all you do is you have your products listed on TikTok shops. Hopefully you have a good margin or you're willing to give up some profit in the immediate future. You okay, Andres? Yeah. And then just have influencers promoting your product because it has a big profit margin. And what happens is somebody goes and sees this on TikTok and they see that they got to wait 8 days to receive it. And they're like, I don't feel like waiting 8 days. And guess where they go? Where 61% of households have an Amazon Prime account. They jump over to Amazon and they just buy it and get it delivered tomorrow or the next day. So by focusing on trying to grow your TikTok shop, it seems to be about a 20%, about 20% of the people that are going to buy from you on TikTok don't. and they go buy from you on Amazon. It's 20%. It's pretty freaking massive. Yep.
So let's say somebody does want to wait the 8 days, wants to buy your product, and you get a sale from somebody on TikTok. How are you fulfilling that order? Are you fulfilling it from Amazon inventory, multi-channel fulfillment, or are you doing it from your warehouse and licking stamps and sending it out?
No wrong answers, but it could be from your 3PL, it could be from your house, it could be from your FBA inventory, and you're doing a multi-channel fulfillment. I would just look at whatever one is more.
How would you do it from your Amazon FBA, your Amazon MCF? How would you do that? Would you connect it? Does it connect with your Shopify stuff?
I don't know if it connects.
So it's basically a hand-to-hand combat with a VA that would do that. Instead.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you have your order come in, and you definitely can do it manually. I don't know if there's an automation that would allow it to
And have you
happen.
figured
There has
out-
to be one between Shopify, because there's a TikTok Shopify integration.
There is one, but have you figured out a way to broadcast this out to TikTok shop influencers? Is that by giving them like a really high commission? or
So
something?
far, that's all we've done. We've put a stupid commission out there that's like, how would you not do this? And I'm basing that off of what the people in the course, Matt Lorian,
Yep.
and what he shows, and that you can see everyone in that Discord that we're in says, like, they just get nuts over that kind of money. Like, if they're willing to make, if they can make a couple bucks per sale, and it's a product that seems to be relatively easy for content, which I was speaking about earlier, like get a product that's not a garlic press that you can make easy content on. You don't need to do anything else. I would try to also manually do it, which would be one of the other ways, would be join brands. But if you have a really nice profit margin built into it, you might not need,
What do you think a good profit margin is? Like $3, $5?
yeah, $3, you're gonna get people to move. But yeah, if you could do $5, $6, and just treat it as an
Sure.
advertising budget. Yeah, it's no different than how people were launching products a long time ago, doing a giveaway. You were willing to give away 100% of your COGS. So in this case, it's not 100% of your COGS. So it's 20%.
My question is, like, for example, when you launch like new products, what would be the adequate budget per day for the pay-per-click?
What's an adequate budget per day when you launch products?
Yes, the new products.
That's a $1 million question. So first I'm gonna say the answer, and then I'm gonna tell you what I think, because the answer is a lousy one, but it depends, right? It depends on the competitors, it depends on the competition, it depends on the time of the year, it depends how differentiated you are versus your competitor. There's so many, it depends. But it also depends on the category. So we were sourcing products one day a couple months ago, and we found mushroom hunters.
Yes.
And there was these bags that you could store the mushrooms in. There's people that go out and just hunt mushrooms, right? Your budget on that, I think you'd be totally fine with. I mean, if you had $30 a day on that thing, you'd be a rock star in that category. But if you're gonna sell a supplement, you're gonna sell it depends on the supplement, but if you're gonna sell vitamin C, just plain freaking vitamin C, or you're gonna sell fat burner as your keyword, or, you know what I mean? Your budget you better bring a good budget. Like, I've played around with the fat burner keyword and spent $1,000 a day and run out of budget. So what I would say, absent everything, and assuming we're working with similar budgets when we start products, the place where I feel like most people could just crush it at, if you can hit this number, you could do some really good damage, is $100 a day to start.
I think you mentioned $100 that Amazon will consider to put you on the little bit up.
I think $100 a day gives you room to test stuff. Remember, you have sponsored product ads, sponsored brand, I still call them headline. You have sponsored brand headline ads. You have sponsored brand video ads. You have sponsored display ads. And then within each one of them, you have targeting types. Let's just say, and there's more, but let's just say each has 3. And you're gonna give 3 different videos. What is that, 12? You have 12 different ad types. If you put $10 towards each one of them, you're already at $120 for the day. Like, it'll evaporate. So, but what's gonna happen is you're gonna need to put about, I don't know, 70, 80% of your budget into sponsored product ads. And now you're left with sponsored brand and sponsored display, and you're barely gonna be able to put much to them. So even at $100 a day, you're probably neglecting your sponsored display ads. You're probably doing sponsored brand video, a headline, and sponsored product, plus you're probably putting the majority of your emphasis, on targeting ASINs of your competitors. So it's like, it's very difficult to answer.
Another question, how often would you recommend to change the images and videos?
Yeah.
How often?
How often do I recommend changing the images of the videos? I don't recommend almost ever, I don't recommend ever just going in there and just changing all of them. I recommend, so I use a tool now, Tom and I discovered in some YouTube studies we were going through, but it's called Milanote, Milanote. And what I do now is I will bring in, a board that'll be main image, secondary, third, fourth, fifth of mine, and then I'll show like my top 3 competitors, and then I'll look at that. And then I'll spend a couple dollars on PickFu, and I'll be like, are we killing them in our main image? No? Then that's what we're working on right now, until we do. And what happens though is it's not so static, because they see that, and they react to that, or they hire a branding agency and they redo their images, and now you have to retest that. So I think you should always be trying to, within budget, win at every point. Win on your main image, win on your secondary, your third, your fourth, your fifth, your video. You need to win on all of it. You want to have your video beat their video as a sponsored video ad. So it's a lot, but it's never, how often do I change it all? I think you should always be looking at how to improve it, so you're always changing. In reality, though, you have 1 to 3 people that are involved in the business. They may have hired 1 or 3 agencies to work on different parts, but it may seem like a lot, but nobody is wearing the hat to where all they do all day long is look for those micro improvements. It's more than one person actually just doing a full-time job doing that. So in reality, most people change it only when there's a problem, right? But yes, you should always be looking to evolve it, always. Did that help at all, or did it just add to the confusion?
No, it's good. And let me ask you, do people like more like kind of artificial intelligence generated videos or like organic videos?
That's a good question. So on Amazon, I don't have the data to say whether they like artificial videos because,
Amazon, you can't. Amazon,
Right.
you can't.
Right.
You can't.
so, right.
TikTok, you can.
TikTok you
Amazon,
can, yeah. I don't know yet. Amazon is allowing you to use allowing you to use AI generated images that are created within Amazon by Amazon's AI for your sponsored brand stuff, which is like a recent rollout. But if you're going to try to use AI in a video, according to Amazon, you can't do that right now. Where we're using AI fine in Amazon and has not been an issue is with Amazon Posts. So if you can get really good, like the Amazon Post program is, just think of it as a social media feed, right? And the lift you get in sales is very small.
I'm sorry, let me take that back. Amazon influencer videos can't be in AI.
Correct, yeah,
I think
I
the
didn't want-
commercials can be
Yeah,
in AI. Sorry
yeah,
about that.
that's what it is, yeah.
So commercials cannot, but
Can't, your commercials that you make yourself
Yes.
can.
Okay,
I was- I'm
But you
sorry,
you can't leave a review that's AI generated,
okay.
right? So our posts, the lift you get from Amazon Posts is tiny. So for most people to go out and create content just to do Amazon Posts is like, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. But now with AI, and I'm not one of these people that are great with that, but you can hire people nowadays, pretty easy that are, and you could post 3-4 times a day and create some good stuff. And now where I see AI at is, it could show your product really good, right? Whereas in the early stages of it, it was kind of like, it's a backpack, but it doesn't look like my backpack. Like we could fool them, but it's nah. Like I had this one of a Siberian Husky wearing a tactical vest. And it was like, okay, I think it's gonna do good, but it's not really the tactical vest that I see on Amazon, but now you could really do it. So I think it'll be good. And as far as AI and video, I can't speak to which is better on Amazon right now because I've not tested that, and I haven't seen good AI, well, great AI video that could beat what I see on something like promo.com. That's even worth testing, but apparently there's some good stuff coming, and then I'll be able to tell you, I'm sure within a couple months, what's working better. I'm gonna say that AI is gonna have, I think non-AI video is gonna win on Amazon.
Yeah, I think so. It's
But I
more
think the
realistic.
overall quality level of AI video is going to win because of how easy it's going to be to test versions of it with AI video. Like, you're not going to have the budget to go out there and just create this banger video every time. Like, you're going to create one and that's it. But with AI, I think you're going to be able to create like 30 of them, see what works, and say, well, those work. Now let's go invest in getting some talent in here and doing a shoot for something real. So I don't think it's going to be either or. What I see with AI currently is anything that I was really good at, I'm better at with AI. Like, it's amplifying what I know how to do, but it's not creating a new skill for me that I never knew how to do. Or if it did, I'm creating it at a mediocre level.
I think the AI is good for your stills, you know, and if you want to bolt them into a video together, so your still photos. But as far as the video content itself, use something like promo.com, which takes, if you ever used Shutterstock before, or like a Pixel and getting free pics and stuff like that, Shutterstock actually gives you little snippets of video. You can actually butt together and make your own video of something. So it's really cool. So you get stock video of certain things. So let's say you were doing lavender oil. There was a drone that goes over lavender fields for like a half an hour. And you can take like a 30-second snippet of these nice purple lavender fields to put with your lavender oil. You could do that. But the AI video is not there yet. It looks too clunky. But supposedly by the end of 24, something called Sora is coming out, which will actually do video for it. But it's
I always
not
say
there yet.
Suna. That's why I knew I was going to get it wrong with Sora.
Suna is music.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
So I don't know the end. We got a little bit on that was a good rabbit hole to go on. So we covered three.
What was
One,
three? What was three?
well, we covered TikTok, we covered Rebate Key, and we covered, which I didn't want to touch on a lot because I feel like we touched on a lot, but was Join Brands is another one to manually get it going instead of trying to wait on what's going to happen with TikTok. Join Brands, the reason I like Join Brands is Join Brands, you could do it way ahead of time. Before the product's there, you could already start collaborating with these people and you could be like, hey, release these things at my time of launch. So you're in control of that, whereas with the TikTok influencers, you don't have that control. You're like, somebody bite, and
So when you do a video with any influencer on Joint Brands, are you able to collect a file and it's yours, or is it
Yep.
something that you agree with?
well,
whatever
it's going to be what you
influencer?
agree on with them, but the typical one is you get the video file and it's yours. You can now use it for your own user-generated content. If all of you wanted to do something for my video, I have that video file now. I can put it together as like a montage and do some crazy stuff with it and create a video ad for it. I can do whatever I want with it at that point. But the really good thing with Join Brands that is great is, and you can do this on TikTok natively, but they have something called Spark, or like Spark Boost, or like Spark Post or something. And what that is say as Gary here, I wanted to do, I'm tatted too, so I'm gonna pick on you for tats, but like, I'm gonna say a tattoo removal product that I have, right? And he's like, good. And then Andres says he's willing to do it too, but who are you gonna look at for tattoo removal? Right, of course, right? So his starts getting me some sales. His gets, you know, the dance scene excited, you know what I mean? Like, and,
Hey.
but he's doing good. Now, our deal is done. We're done. He's paid, he did his video, he's moved on, and he's reviewing other stuff. But I get a code for that post that he did, and I now get to say, I want to spend some money boosting the heck out of that post. So he likes it because he's getting more eyeballs to his feed, he's getting more followers that like with his stuff. He doesn't do any more work. I'm paying for TikTok to boost the heck out of this and show it to more people for me to get more sales. So it's a win-win. There's no additional work that him and I have to do. I have that code for the post, I get to use it, and I get to boost the heck out of it. So Join Brand gives you a very easy way to do that on the back end without having to like play tag with an influencer. So I like it. One that I want to throw in here that I don't think comes up enough with launches and in just kind of the time we're in right now is pricing. I think everyone needs to be giving a lot more thought to their pricing during the launch, well, before the launch phase, but also on the launch phase. We covered this once before, and I thought, hey, everyone's going to think this is a boring topic, but be careful how you price your product on Amazon. There's some pricing that's like if you're selling it for, what's the bad one, 24 bucks. If you're selling something for $24.99 or $23.99, that is like the worst zone to ever be in on pricing, just as an example. Because you are not at the threshold for if somebody wants, you got $25 or more in it for anybody else to be able to get it to qualify for Prime. You want, there is no difference. So if you sell the product for $23.99, $24.99, you might as well sell it for $25.99, $26.99 and recognize that extra dollar. You want to be above 25 if you're close enough to it. You will not notice a difference in sales velocity. The only difference you're going to notice is in your profit margin.
So you have to be 24 to be on Prime?
$25 or more for other people in their cart at one time to get the free shipping. Yeah, otherwise, you'll go to checkout with 13 bucks and you're going to pay shipping. Right. So there's something called charm pricing that I think most of us have heard of. Charm pricing is the 9. So if you're selling something, don't use whole numbers. It's shocked that I still see people doing this when they go to do their product launches and they have me look at it and they don't know what's going on, and they're selling it for $27. You might as well sell it for $27.99, $26.99, any of the 9s, $49 or $99. But it's just, think about it like this, the 99, what would you say is the most popular around the globe high-end brand that you can think of? Luxury brand. Apple. All their stuff ends in 99. So like, they're doing it. It ends in 99, do it. Just trust me on this. Like, there's like a ton of psychology out there that's been done that, that says why it works. Something you can think about, this is more of like, you're gonna notice the benefits of this and it's without surrounding pricing during your launch, but you obviously would had to have set this up before, is decoy pricing. So, yeah.
Sorry, for you keep on, you said like the price that is for like a Prime member free is $25?
Correct, you wanna have $25 or more.
Or 25 is?
Yeah, for non-Prime members.
Okay, okay.
So, decoy pricing. You can pull this off with merchant fulfilled with a dummy SKU, but it's better to think about this ahead of time. But I've seen this just time and time again, whereas if your product is selling for 20 bucks and you have another listing sitting right beside you, it's easier to pull off on your website, more difficult on Amazon, that's why I'm talking about it. But if you have another variation that's sitting on the listing, and maybe doesn't really matter what it is, but it's the 5-gallon, and you're selling a 6-ounce thing. You never plan on really selling this 5-gallon. But the fact that there's a 5-gallon there that shows that it's selling for $79, right? All of a sudden is gonna get you more sales on your $24 widget. So it just works. So if you can think about that ahead of time and actually have a dummy product that you can stick up there, that actually works. It's just called decoy pricing. If you don't, you can pull it off with having a variation that's merchant fulfilled. And you technically could send them 5 gallons worth of your 6-ounce things. It doesn't have to come in a jug. But if you can get away with decoy pricing is good to pull off in a launch. If you don't have a real product, you don't plan on putting a lot of love behind, then don't worry about it. Like keeping that listing alive afterwards. I find it does give you a little bit of a lift, but during a launch, it just gives you a little bit more. Another one that I've seen really good, and this was actually from something I listened to on a podcast like 4 years ago, and I tried. It was difficult for me to try this because I couldn't definitively say whether this is an amazing thing that works, and I guess this is like one of the last things I'll add with pricing as a tool for launch. A lot of people just don't think of pricing and launch as a launch strategy. So I started working with a lot of other people, and I'm like, hey, can you just try this? Can you just go into your back end of your Amazon listing and add, what's the maximum amount that somebody can buy? So currently, most people have it to where your listing, somebody can go in there and buy 60 units, right? And if you look in your reports, you see that you sell, on average, 1.1 units per transaction, right? If you go into your listing and put a maximum of 3, or if you're getting 2 as your average, don't put 3, put 5. But if you see that most people buy 1 unit of yours, if you go in and just cap it to where nobody can buy more than 3 and let it run, what I find is it gives you about a 15% increase in sales. So this was based off of a podcast that I saw where somebody, took over this business that had like 40 variations of soup. And the person said, hey, look, let's just drill this down to where we only have 8 variations. And when they did it, it was about a 20% increase in sales because there was less options. I'm sorry, they put maximum cans you can buy is 12. Sorry, wrong thing. Maximum cans you can buy is 12. Nobody ever bought 12 cans. But the fact that you knew you were limited created in people's mind this ability, I might as well get more than one while I'm here. So it gave about a 15% lift, and all that matters during the launch. You don't?
No. I mean, it's funny, but because it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see it. Like if you just go up to something and it says, when I go buy air tags, they limit you to like 5 air tags. Well, like, let me just get 3 while I'm here then. But yeah, okay. So we covered 4. Drawing a blank on my last one. Any questions on that so far? Any questions on pricing? Why we're on it? No.
So yeah, I remember during the freedom ticket, I believe there's one course they do talk about the pricing, and there's odd number and even number. $24.99 to $25.99 or $24.99 vs $27.99 is totally different game.
What is? I'm sorry.
The odd number and the even number makes me people the $24.99 and the vs $27.99. The odd number and the even number, there's something there too.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference comes in with like $5. At $5, it doesn't really change. It changes a great deal. But $4 and under, when you go above, you can usually get away with. I mean, assuming you really invested a lot into your image and your product, it'll do fine. Nowadays, I think everybody should be playing with their price and going higher. Just everything. Yeah.
Another question, sir. How often should I change increase my price?
Well, Amazon's going to kind of dictate that because if you want to come, a $9 swing, let's say, they're not going to let you do it that rapidly. But
Like three and a half.
I think that's a good question. Like, how often should you change pricing? I don't think you should change pricing just to change it.
Yeah.
I do think there's a period of time in the beginning. Oh, how about this? I can clearly say that people sell their products for less than what they could. But there's this big hang up, but oh my God, I'm going to sell less. Or it's going to be so hard for me to get this velocity back again. And most of that is really baseless. But I think people should definitely experiment more with their price. I can't say you should be doing it every week or 3 times a week.
No, like every 3 months, maybe. 1 month.
Man, there's some great data coming out right now with this software called Prophecy. PROF, Prophecy by Chad Rubin, that is really just making me rethink how often you should be changing your price. That's what I'm saying. Like, data tells me don't change it too often, but the stuff that I'm reading over there from Prophecy makes it look like I might not be
No,
correct.
because everything is so expensive now. And kind of people having the mindset that everything is going up.
Yeah, if you have a product that does well with subscribe and save, and you don't have to raise your price, I think there's a good argument for you not doing it. Alex Fedorowicz from the group, who hasn't been here in a while, he had a good take on that, but he was in the beauty space. And it was like, well, when everyone else is raising their price, I'm going to keep my price the same, and I'll treat that opportunity cost almost as an advertising spend to gain market share. So you're going to gain more market share by having that better price, but at the end of the day, you're also a business, and you need to make money. Yeah. The other, and I guess the final one that I think everyone should be doing during an Amazon product launch that no one's really, not the obvious stuff that most people are not thinking of, is it's just getting better and better every week, and that's Google Ads to Amazon. Especially Tom, I don't know if you've been paying attention at all to that side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, it's unreal. Like
Carlos, 2 or
Depends on the
4
category.
2. Google Ads to Amazon. And when you go online and you look at this, look at a software called PixelMe for this. By the way, it's Carbon 6. They're a sponsor. They don't say this, and it's not always the case. But when you do go research this as a tool for you to use during a product launch, you're going to find some articles saying that it's a waste of time, and that they had this. I had 120% ACOS. Yeah, you're not going to have a pretty ACOS when you're launching it. That's not the goal here. Like you're doing this for external traffic signals going into Amazon during a launch, and it just helps every other aspect of what you have going on. But for it to work really good, what you need to do is first, I suggest, if you don't know anything about Google Ads, I suggest connecting with PixelMe. They're going to evaluate whether your product is a fit. And if they say it's not, but you still want to do it, you still could do it. But they're getting really good with giving you an idea as to like what you can expect and what sort of budget you should run. I think you should put in maybe like $500 to $1,500 a month, depending on your budget, during the launch. And what you also need to do for this to really work is you don't want to send them to your product detail page. So what you want to do is you want to go into your sponsored brand store, and you want to create an additional landing page just for this. You with me on this? No?
I will resume again.
Okay, so you're going to go into your Amazon sponsored brand store,
Okay.
and you have a page there. You want to create an additional page, and the only thing on that page is going to be that product that you're running ads to, because you want someone who saw your product in Google Ads to go to that specific landing page and only see that product. You don't want them to go to your product detail page where they see all the ads for other products and different opportunities and someone who's targeting you for a more affordable product. You don't want any of that. You just spent money on a click to take them over to your sponsored brand storefront.
Is that like more of an internal funnel?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what it is. So besides some of the obvious, TikTok, join brands, rebate fee, pricing strategies, and PixelMe are some of the great ones right now that you can do during the actual launch. In a previous meetup, we touched on other ones which are going to obviously play a part in this, like on-site support, which I think is phenomenal, but it's more of a pre-launch strategy.
Any benefit to take the hit on ROI and severely undercut your price for a new product launch compared to competitors to get the sales range?
Yeah. I know people that are doing it and it works. It's just not my cup of tea, lowering the price. But I think Amazon is catching on to that, especially now with their new restrictions on coupons and stuff like that. I don't think my logic here is, well, first of all, I know people that are doing it and it works. So if you want to do it, that's fine. But your goal here is to have a positive impact on the person who buys your product. But it's also to make money in the business so that you can continue launching products. And the launch of a product is the most expensive time of the product. So why are you going to sell your product for less at the time that you're spending the most? It's not something that is ever, I've never really been a fan of. As a matter of fact, I like to sell it for about $5 more than what I think I'm going to need to sell it during that time. If you've not invested correctly into your main image and the rest of your product, then obviously there's an asterisk there. If your product looks junkier or less quality than everybody else's, and you want to sell it for $5 more, that's just not the way the world works. One more that I'll throw in really quick as a bonus, since we have a little bit of time, is so let's stop with those. This next one, I believe, is possibly too dark gray to fall into the white hat category, but it's just working so well. I think everyone here should do it until you can't. And I'm calling it dummy variant, because we need a name for this thing. So we're calling them dummy variants. So I want to find a product here to use as an example because this is going to get a little confusing. Huh? Sure, we do the Stormtrooper. So this Stormtrooper helmet comes in a box. And I'm going to make it the hardest one because you're going to have this question. Oh no, those chips. Let me see can I see the front of those chips? Do you mind if I?
No, try it.
You said try them.
Yeah. You want?
Crunchy cassava and cheese bites. Sound really good. This, with,
Son pan de queso crocante.
okay. This one will actually be a little harder, and it's late, so I'm going to do the other one. But one that I understand a little better. But we can do it with that product too. So this one, the Stormtrooper helmet, and we'll call it blue, right? So your box says blue Stormtrooper helmet. You have a listing on Amazon that says blue Stormtrooper helmet. You're with me? When it gets confusing for anyone, you need to stop me because this will get a little complicated. You also have pallets of additional blue Stormtrooper helmets, right? So you list this product on Amazon and you enroll it in Vine and you get 30 reviews. So you're willing, you send to Amazon FBA and you're like, get 30 of these things and put them in the hands of Vine reviewers like me so that they can get reviews on my listing and then I review it, right? But now you're limited. You can't get any more reviews on this because it has 30 reviews, right? So if you wanted to launch a red one, you bring in Stormtrooper helmets red. You have a red one. If you add it to this listing, you can't enroll it in Vine because that listing has already done its 30 Vine reviews. Now, if you listed this separately, the red one, separately, you get to enroll it in Vine. You get to enroll it in Vine. You get the 30 reviews, and then once it does get its reviews, you then bring it over and you marry it to this listing. So now this listing has 60 reviews, right? Okay, that's basic. And as time goes on, you decide you're going to keep listing colors, and every time you do the same thing, right? Which most people don't do, but they do that. Now, what I'm going to share, this is just stupid. I went to an event not too long ago, and on the cab ride back, the person said, like getting reviews is something like getting reviews is super easy. All you got to do is blah blah blah. And I looked at them and I was like, I was forming the words for that doesn't work, right? But it does. It really, really does work. So what you do is, let's back up now. You have this listing, and it's a blue Stormtrooper helmet. You get the same product that you have boxes of in your warehouse. You get another UPC code, right? A different one. And you list this on Amazon on a different page and call it dark blue Stormtrooper helmet, right? Then a light blue Stormtrooper helmet. And every time you're creating a different one, you're enrolling each of them into Vine. So you know how many different shades of blue there are that are kind of open for interpretation? Indigo blue. Cobalt blue.
Oh my gosh.
Electric, you just go endless, right? And you list these variants out and you enroll each of them into Vine. Now, once they've gotten their reviews, you marry it back to your listing and you no longer send inventory to that variant. So you don't need to close that listing. It's just going to go dormant because you're no longer going to send any more inventory to it. But the listing itself still keeps the reviews that it inherited from this variant. So since I never plan on supplying inventory to this variant, I call it a dummy variant, right? Right. So you could have 50 shades. Now, the question you usually get, 50 shades of gray, no, 50 shades of blue. But the question I get a lot is, but my packaging says blue, right? What I'm seeing, and we've tested this extensively at this point, I would say close to 1,000 different variants. Not a single Vine reviewer has come back and said, the packaging said blue, but the listing said cobalt blue. Not a single one, right? In the event that you submitted one of these and it was midnight blue, and the majority of the Vine reviewers said, this is no midnight blue that I've ever seen, 3 stars. You just don't marry it back to your listing with all those negative reviews. That's it. You only bring back the ones that have the positive reviews. So if you did that, there's really no, I mean, and you're gonna be getting the majority of these reviews within like 30 days. This is something you can't start until you launch. It's technically not a launch strategy, but I will tell you what, if all of a sudden you're sitting at like 100 and something reviews on your listing instead of 5 at the end of 30 days, it's gonna positively impact your launch during those 30 days. So did anybody get what I was saying there? And you get why it's a bit shady? Because you're exploiting a loophole in Amazon's terms of service? Yeah? Any questions?
How do you merge them again?
The same way you would anything else. Like you have it becomes a child to your parent ASIN. So like if you had 6 sweaters that were 6 different colors, and then afterwards you were like, I want to have a variation listing where all 6 show up on the same page, you would just create a parent-child relationship. You're going to create a parent ASIN and put them all under. That's more of a back-end cat. It's a few buttons on the back end. Yeah. So there shouldn't be, I'm going to say this, so like I'm looking at some products to potentially do. I'll just let's call them gelatin, right? And like a flavor, like raspberry or something like that. There's like a bazillion different types of raspberry that you can do. Knowing this ahead of time, I'm just going to tell my packaging person. I was like, make me 50 wild raspberry, 50 pure raspberry. Just the same formula is going to go into every single one of them. But I'm going to get it added to the packaging just because it's easy enough to think that far in advance to do it. And if the packaging person's going to force you into higher MOQs, then just get a sticker. But if you're not there where your packaging's already done, you still can do it. Just do a twist on the product. If you have a product like this one, you can call it the cassava edition. The blank edition. Just add something else in the title with a new UPC code that when the person receives the product, you can't call it broccoli and they receive cassava. You know what I mean? Like, just make something that makes sense. Premium is a great one. The premium.
Premium,
Right.
limited.
Yes, there's so many different things you could do. In the supplement space, though, is where it's being exploited the most. Because you can have creamy vanilla, rich vanilla. There's so many different things you can do.
Madagascar vanilla.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it literally just a title thing?
It's a UPC and a title thing.
Okay.
That's it. And then submitting it and sending inventory to it, because you can't merchant fulfilled buying. That's it. If you do it and you get the positive reviews for your product, it's going to change your launch in an amazing way at the end of the 30 days. But act on it immediately. I mean, you should be acting on this immediately, and reviews should until this gets closed, reviews should no longer be a stress for your product. As a matter of fact, if you got in a few negative reviews and you're wondering what the heck you should do, maybe just consider creating a dummy variant, and let me just go ahead and get like 20 to 30 positive reviews and drown that out. So I'll leave it at that. But that's definitely a dark, dark, dark gray as it pertains to Amazon. So, yep, everybody good? Any questions?
That doesn't seem like something that they would like. Obviously, I don't know anything about it, but the suspension of the account.
I don't.
They would just like stop it.
Well, it depends how it's going to be interpreted. So if it's review manipulation, yes, that's going to be suspension of the account. Like if they see it as review manipulation, or they give you a warning. I think more than likely what would happen, otherwise I wouldn't be playing with this with Fire, is what's going to happen is they just won't let you enroll in Vine. Right. Or when you come over, they could just not let you bring it over.
Right.
Right.
That's the way that I'm seeing
I
it.
also think long term what's going to happen, because it's starting to happen off of Amazon right now, is they're no longer going to be able to express the aggregate review for a variant. But I think we're a ways off from that. Like if you have, a yellow sweater with 8 sizes, and 3 of them have been reviewed and 5 of them have never been reviewed, but they're being shown whatever variant, whatever size you look at, it's showing you the whole review. Well, how is that possible? Like, how do you know the extra small fit good enough to warrant those? You know what I mean? Like, so I think at some point that'll be an issue. Yeah.
So
So let's say if I had a product that is not a new product for launch, and so my buying period for that product is over, but I want to still add some more reviews, get a little bit more juice flowing to it. So let's say I'm doing bonsai fertilizer, and I want to say premium bonsai fertilizer. So I'm going to open up a second listing, premium bonsai fertilizer instead of regular bonsai fertilizer, enroll it in Vine, get those 30 reviews, and bring it over.
Yep. Yep.
Why don't you start?
I've wanted to test this out. I've wanted to test this out a lot. I'll tell you what. So let me tell you. So I like testing some of this stuff out before bringing it here and saying, hey guys, this thing works. One that I'm testing right now that I'm about ready to like, and I'll have to walk back some of the stuff that I've said. But I got 5 accounts, and I was like, can we just test this and see if this works? So all of these accounts had listings that had a lot of variations to them. So I am a fan. If a listing has the same keyword set, that it makes sense to have them together as a listing. But I'm starting to deal with a lot of listings that have a lot of variants. So by a lot, the low number is over a dozen variants on a listing. But I'm dealing with some that have dozens of variants. So what we accidentally did is a bunch of those variants ran out of stock. And when they ran out of stock, we had a big spike in sales on the variants that were in stock. And it was like, okay, that made sense. They just wanted it, and the one they really wanted wasn't there, but they bought the one that they know, liked, and trusted from the brand that they were looking for. But we were wondering, and it was like, this was a big spike in sales. Like, is having this many variants, again, in excess of 12, hurting sales? And we broke them up over a 90-day period, and what we did was like, this one particular one, it was easy to break it up between like pastels, tropical, and bright. Let's just say that. And we broke it up, and there was enough, there wasn't no standalone listings, but there was enough that each one was still a variation listing of some note. And it was a 20% increase in sales so far, which is not a nominal number. So we got about another 3 weeks before it's like, okay, test this out some more, or is this definitive? And it seems like it has no impact when it's less than 12 variants that I've been able to see of note. But 13 and more, it seems like there's a good argument for, you got 13 variants, can we put them in 4, can we put these in 3 buckets of 4, right? And give that a name. There's gonna be a little more PPC spent because they're broken apart, but the overall increase in sales would more than make it worth it. So that's one of those things that maybe in 3 weeks I bring over and somebody's, well, why did you say that before? And we're just testing it, but right now it looks pretty definitive.
And what's the cost of Vine now?
I don't know, because it's so worth it to me. It's like so overwhelmingly worth it that I never consider the price. And I was so used to paying $1,500 on enrollment back when it was just Vendor Central that it's like, I don't care. Well,
2 for free, 75 is 1 to 2 to 10, 200 to up to 30.
up, right, so you get 200 up to 30,
Yeah.
right? And then first 2 free and then 75. But I value a positive review at $250, so.
So for those people who launched the product and forgot to enroll in Vine, this is a great way for them to maybe, because your Vine period I think is only 30 days.
Say, you should
I
enroll.
mean, if you forget to enroll in Vine, and you're in day 31, you should just open up
Another variant.
a variant.
Yeah, I'm calling it dummy variant, so if you hear me talk about it on the podcast, you have some idea of what I'm talking about. Any questions so far? Really? Okay. We're gonna wrap it up. I think it was a pretty dense topic, and I tried to pick stuff that was out of the norm, not the obvious stuff that you've heard on every podcast and every YouTube channel you should do for a product launch. There's a lot of stuff that you should be doing with a product launch. But hope you enjoyed. I'd love some feedback on the beginner hour, the product sourcing period, like different stuff you'd like to see with that, or if you like that kind of stuff. I think it's better than us trying to extract awkward questions for an hour in the beginner hour. And pay attention, because we're going to launch a TikTok Telegram group chat that Ting's going to be posting in. And hopefully we'll all learn some stuff about TikTok shops. Watch, in 2 weeks she's going to regret it. She's going to message me, like, Carlos, I can't do it. No, I'm just kidding. Either that or Christopher will be doing all the posts.
Probably.
No. All right, so what we're going to do is we can hang out and network for a bit, but at 4 p.m. we have another event that's starting that's YouTube related. So if you're going to stay and hang out after that, it would be in the event for YouTube. And yeah, I mean, thank you so much.
Thank you.
How's it play back?
Jammed, even though I was in first class, but when I flew back, I flew in the red eye side.
Sunday went to the Grand Canyon. It's been all day. Still like 8 hours there. Sunday. We wanted to, but helicopter only landed on the bottom for 30 minutes and go back.
But unless you go to the Grand Canyon and into the Grand Canyon, what you're really gonna do is just landing in the Grand Canyon.
Right. So we got there, we hiked down like 45 minutes on the trail and 45 minutes back.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's a long way down.
Yeah. It was tough. It's like a 4-hour hike down. We just did like a little piece. And then we had dinner at one of the restaurants, kind of overlooking the canyon. Elk, big windows like this, and elk right outside the window. We go back.
What'd you think of the shop?
It was good, very basic, but
It was very underwhelming.
Yeah.
I like the speakers, but I mean, the speakers were just talking
they were
about
just pitching.
versus
Everybody was pitching.
I was really surprised at the lack of vendors that were there. I figured it would be more like,
It was nobody.
I figured it would be like, somebody was gonna be like speech writers, thumbnailers, camera others.
There was no vendors. There was Opus Company, the only vendor. And one photo.
But that's terrible.
Yeah, and a photo booth for people. I think it was very basic, kind of give you like a general idea of the possibilities of YouTube, but there was no nitty-gritty. They were just pitching up. They were just pitching
I
up.
think it's much better going into,
Bid Summit was 100 times better.
I think it's much better going to pitch out of here. I'm gonna be very selective about the things that I go to now. Not that it was expensive, but there wasn't a thing about hotel.
Really?
I mean, I thought the hotel was, I mean, once again, I stayed there.
Slow, very slow.
I mean, everything was slow.
Yeah,
Like, I wanted to get a drink, I wanted to go get breakfast, and then go to that little place that was kind of like a deli. Otherwise, when I went there to sit down for breakfast, it was gonna be an hour and 20 minutes for the Craig's. I'm like, bro, I could go across
I
the
think
street.
it's like after the casino.
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
What's up?
She's
Much better, yeah, it's hard, like even now, just to leave, I have to drop off at my aunt's house and then go back again, so it's different. We'll see, but I think everybody should be able to remember on the way. Right now, I'm still thinking about it, but she lives with me. So it's like, and I don't have any brothers or sisters, so it's just me. Whatever.
That's why I want to have 2 places.
Yeah, have a lot of
Put the
kids,
back
have
up.
a bunch of kids, have like 10 kids. So when you're sick and old, they can fight, but
You guys
one
are
of them
freaking
can
nuts.
That's why Tom had so many kids, so he could take care of them when he's old. Actually, Tom made all the money, so they're gonna put him in a home, and you have nurses, and people to take care of him.
No, I would not have more kids. I would not have any kids.
May I?
You can either have kids or have a jet. What do you want?
May I say?
Of course you can.
So I talked to him for 7 minutes ago, so he just sent me several accounts.
Yep.
But most of them, like, I didn't ask him, he was following up with me that I followed him, but I didn't make a look yet. So it's a start from $100.
A lot of dogs on there, yeah, just step away. Now, remember, I'm only doing this with the TikTok account to get approved. That's it. One of the mistakes I see people making, and my wife made this mistake. Remember, she was applying and applying and applying and applying. She wasn't. When you apply to Amazon and you get approved that first day, it's approved. Now you've got to do 3 videos. When you get approved that first time, you're now an Amazon influencer. Absolutely, you can influence. When you upload the 3 videos and you're denied, they're just saying you're denied for on-site placement, but you're still an influencer. Okay? So what you have to do is when you go to reapply, you have to say, I no longer want to be an influencer and shut that influencer account down. Then reapply again with a new social media account. So what my wife was doing, she had one social media account, she got approved, videos were denied, and then she came back, another social media account, so 3 videos in account, denied again, and she never shut down the initial influencer. Okay? So she kept on, and I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, you never told me that. I'm like, bro, I've been telling you that forever. So her account, I think she's tried 3 different times. One way back in the beginning and 2 again, and she just was struggling. So I believe it's not because of her social media, her engagement, or her videos. I believe it's because Amazon says you're allowed to have 1 influencer. So her initial one that she was denied on, she kept on stacking, and they denied it. So now I'm telling her I have a brand new Amazon account with a different email account. Put your name on Lisa Burrows. Don't put Lisa Mays, whatever, Lisa Burrows. Apply with the social media account, the TikTok account that I have. She's gonna get approved. She hasn't done it yet because our other account, we had to re-upload all of our videos. So I think we're we're almost there. We're almost there. But I still want to get a second influencer account open. So I bought this influencer account from this company so that purpose only, not for anything else. I got it for that purpose. Because that, it appears to me that people get approved on TikTok easier than on everything else because they're doing videos, right? So I've seen people. Well, mine I think I have one that's massive. I negotiate with that too. He's in Bulgaria or something. Mine has. $65,000, but you don't need $65,000. You need like 2,000, 3,000, or whatever. Just keep on uploading. I mean, just because you got it tonight one day, it's got $68,000.
And you pay for $150.
I paid $200. But I negotiated with him. He was like, no, $400 a day. It's not like that where $900 and whatever. I got this fitness one. I'm like, this is only for this process. For you, $200. So you can negotiate a lot. If you get a dog, if you get a dog, just repurpose other videos of people and just, link and post and stuff. Doing that, just to keep it active, and then upload your video, and then you get approved for the program. So I'm not looking at it to develop this fitness channel, even though I could. But the girl in the group, what's her name? Eileen. Remember the Latin girl with the red hair? She did it. She got her like first phase. So what Close and I are playing with now, we want to do an Amazon live video. So once you're approved for the first phase, once again, go back, make sure you're not an influencer anymore.
Okay.
Bow out of the influencer program. I don't want to be an influencer or whatever. So your mom's calling. I know.
So my purpose for buying a camera, I want to use that to make money, to do a affiliate program, like on TikTok. Because we don't care to open another account or another LLC for this purpose, so.
You don't open up another LLC for this.
You can use it.
Yeah. So like if I have let's say I have a company, it's called Leads and Sold. So I have a lot of different domains that I bought for Leads and Sold. The Dirty Gardener, the Happy Gardener, whatever, those are all domains. Every domain that I buy, or every social media account that I buy, doesn't have to have its own LLC. It can be owned by that company.
Okay.
So think about Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has Gatorade, but it's a Coca-Cola's company.
Okay.
You with me? So don't think that every single company you buy, right? So when you buy the TikTok account, and then you want to set it up, it's owned by this business. The business owns it. Business owns this TikTok account, this TikTok account, this TikTok account, this TikTok account. Teams Enterprises. You could have a TikTok account for dogs and cats, rhinoceroses, hippopotamuses, whatever you want. Still owned by Ting Enterprises. You with me? So I'm looking, I don't know what you're asking me, because I sent you that guy for the purpose of buying an existing TikTok account that you should continue to post on. Apply for the Amazon program.
I see your process. Okay. Yeah, we're doing sales on TikTok. Really about and I just travel video too, but I just noticed yesterday only some of the made it's all automated and I did several travel videos internationally. Only made ones that look
But it's
so that's why I was like let's do some ads to see if we can. So because I'm not satisfied with that. Like 5 days per day. I want.
Sign here. Oh, here we go. This is a good group, right? There's a girl on here that just followed his little thing and just started to grow her stuff. She went to a hit, right? And she hit 54,000 in sales. There it is.
Yes,
Just contact if they're there or remind me and I'll copy paste it. But ChatGPT is going to be something important to have to be able to search for.
blog, but the blog is interesting. Run by Mr. Reed. But, I had a digital blog on my site for Spanish. I haven't posted it in 2 years. They say that's like 10,000 exits. All here.
Calculated as much as you
Oh, in Spanish.
I'm gonna
And I
go
get
to her, what did I just do? Where? Okay, okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, $10. Now before AI, it's $10 an hour.
So when I went to her site, right? This is her site.
Oh, yeah.
And these are her videos.
I have a Pakistan.
This one got 2.4 million views.
Yeah.
But look, 605, 3,097, let's say 1,500, and then boom, 2.4 million, 5.99 million, 666,000. That's when she made money. But it took her a while to break through it, right? There's whatever. She's not cranking here. 2,000, 9,000. Oh, 44,000. She started getting close. Then back down to 15,000, 55,000. Okay. You know, so she started like.
All right.
Carlos.
Yeah.
You're walking, as I ask for his name, he starts going the other way. As I ask your name, he starts walking the other way. Yeah, well, what's up?
Is there some AI that you get 50,000?
Put this up in the end for the YouTube one.
It is proof that they can't grab it. It's tough.
That colloidal opening,
Yeah. Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the only person that's even, and they're not even trying to, is a Vino. So I just went on to Thomas.net and found all kinds of suppliers. And you know, they're pricing it for like £1 pound bag. An 80 pound bag comes $600. It's like $8 a pound.
Sure, we're getting better.
So,
We're getting better.
I mean, they're selling for $24 a pound. I mean, they're selling it for like $35 for 2 pounds. And I'm like, I'm sure that if I ask for 1,000 pounds of this, I'll get a much better price. And then I just send it to a co-packer.
Yep. Yeah, look good.
It's crazy, yeah.
I mean, that's just so, and it's right up Home and Plenty Valley.
Yeah. And that's yours now, right?
Your work with that is
It's fine.
That's good. Yeah, I think it'd be perfect. Can we get this set up for you?
Put scheme on it.
Tom, one day I'm gonna be your staff. I feel like we're
What?
Do you have to do your?
one day we're gonna find your staff.
Your blog have to have.
Yeah, give it a shot. I challenge you.
Have that scheme installed. So therefore, we'll.
You know, let me tell you something. It's so frustrating. So today, let me show you this. So today,
You have to have that on your site, that install.
and it's on the
Yeah. That's what I did, that's what I did, so like, okay.
So they're gonna have people in different
Okay,
places.
pero
Exchange.
Yeah, I see Michael was reading messages on YouTube.
And therefore, that's
And I'm
not
like,
a
okay.
question.
So who are we gonna
It's funny, because that's not one question, but it adds up. The top seller sells.
Product
5,000.
exchange, there's
It's a
what's
question.
going on, so.
You know,
I'll work
that,
with it, right?
yeah, you
So
can
for
combine
those who
it.
don't
So
participate in the product,
you should get
because
top
there's
rank
like
for that
5
question.
people, that are like, yeah, I'll be
But
there.
that was before.
And then they say,
No, it was just.
So this guy says,
Yeah, I started the blog just getting
What is it?
my wife has
I can try to make it at noon.
So that her
He
Instagram
asked
is
me
diddy.co.
to be here at noon.
Okay,
DILY.co.
the Michael, right?
Yeah, Michael, the other people said they'll be here, and Carlos said, listen, either noon or 6.
No, 6. Yes.
So Sabina was like, oh, I'm
Based on that question.
I go, okay. I mean, these, I'm gonna people side message me and some go, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna test this out. We're gonna bring 5 products. Each of the products should be over $30, no toys, and no food to make the product. Like we use the commissions on them are below, but over $30. Everybody bring 5 products. Stickers, 10 different people, so you would glue whatever you want. You put that on the bottom of the box, so you know that's your product. And then next week, you go review, you bring it back, and next week, everybody's playing the game. And we say, okay, go get 10 products and bring it back. You know, I was in the trailer. You don't need any new products. There's plenty of products. Create a connection. These guys, Chinese, I can go to big stores, I can buy stuff on, you know, with the connections that we make, we can buy stuff. I know what I'm looking for. So if I'm making $200 a day, I'll spend $100 on products. I'll buy my own products. Look at that.
Already?
And so I'm like, when these people say, I go, you know what, Carlos, I'm trying to help. And he's like, Tom, he goes,
Yeah, I know, right? Great.
50 people that want to come here.
It's actually for
I don't know why, but everybody got me, not doing any of that. I'm gonna tell you,
like a session. But the number one here,
we can give
Mickey
people
Mouse,
all this great information
from all,
from
what's
won't execute. But the difference in terms of if you want to catch up, you have to execute. Just don't be like, I'll get to tomorrow.
Oh, you gotta do that. That's what I'm trying to always push on Chris, is like, relax,
My eyes are burning.
I don't know, gonna do it.
No change, no.
Listen, don't have Kristen, you do your stuff. I just get so frustrated when people ask me, what do you do? How do you know something? Because I say I do it, I do it. I say I'm gonna do a YouTube channel, I've invested 50 hours, 75 hours into some of the stuff he's gonna talk about. I've invested in it, I'm gonna do it. But there's a lot of freaking homework that most people aren't gonna do. They're not gonna care about it. So it's the people that's not drinking it, he's giving me some, he gave me colonial oil. I'm gonna go source it. Next week I'll have a source. I'm gonna order my package, I'm gonna order something and then send my packaging. I'll order the packaging from China. End of next week, I'll launch the product. I'm gonna do it. I know when I've seen something, I'm gonna go do it. So the people that are here, it's like crazy. And people are just like, come on, man. But that's gonna cost $150.
Do it. Is it the return?
Hold on. We just got this back up and running. So in the last 7 days, $1,100. Well, and we're just getting back. I would imagine we'll make between $5,000 and $6,000 a month. $6,000. I'm cheating I'm sorry for my French, but I'm not so frustrated today because I was like, I put a lot of effort into picking 5 to 6 products that have 1,000 sales per month. 2 video interviews up there. These are nuggets for them. These is easy money for them. They're already in from this program. I'm going to bring fucking little. I even had printouts of each one, so it was going to be super easy for them to find. All I have to do is take the product out of the box, review the product, put it up there. These are always going to be my product's not getting the sales. Okay, well, I'm giving you stuff that has 2 or 3 videos on it. Notice the carousel's not full. Just do a video. Make some money. And I had dots right there. I'm like, frick this. Come take a shot. I'm like, no. You want to get help? I'll say what I can. But I'm not going to try to order. Sabina's in there. Oh, I can make it next week. And I'm like, bro, are you kidding me? So what's going to happen when the other rings try products? And then Sabina doesn't show up for 2 months. And she takes someone's $150 for the products with her. And I'm just like, I'm not gonna do it. But that money can easily go toward buying programs, selling tickets to a show. You know, I mean, I don't know stuff to make some money. And then people are like, hey, I want to spend $50 on all this money. Do this.
And grow with video?
I get it. I don't have to do this. Do it. For example,
Video shows.
we made $72,000 last year, and we started in June.
Is there any? For sure.
See, every time I want to do something,
Did you have it back?
Well, then make sure that you do this. Make sure that if you have time, right? You start here. Finish the freaking. Don't go halfway. Go, oh, look at the sun is shining out.